That's Lola. The things that we can talk about here, the fact that this is kind of a current events, what's happening now program, I'm going to put on the side burner for just 1 second. Have you ever had one of those days where you just cannot pull anything together? Holy cow.
You don't know me well enough, or you wouldn't ask that question.
Look, I will never claim, ever, that I have it all together. But I can't even get the microphone to stay where I want it. That's the day that I'm having. But I would never claim to be the person that has it all together. I think I put on a good front, like you have no idea. I think the best example of it is I look like a duck. At the top, I'm like, everything's good. At the bottom, my feet are kicking, and I'm just hoping to not drown. There are just days where it's not going right, and today is one of those days. I don't know if it adds to this. Everybody can probably relate to this in some way or another. Today would be my father's 88th birthday. My dad died when I was 15. And I still think, look, I'm not, it's been a long time. You don't ever get over that. It still bothers me on the day, on his birthday. And I just think it's pushed everything in my, I can't get anything done. I'm just scrambling. And you know what? Really all I have to do today is hopefully do an above average radio program. And that's it. And for whatever reason, I'm just can't get it together. So I'm going to need your help today. Let's talk about a bunch of things. And I'm maybe being a little exaggerating. I've got things for us to talk about. Don't worry about that. But I'm going to definitely want to talk to you guys today. 304-214-1600, 304-214-1600 is the phone number. Obviously, things are changing in Washington, and we're going to talk about some of those things, and they're not all positive things. They're not all negative things either, and that's where I think we get caught up. But in order to be fair, to be honest, to be balanced our opinions, I think if we want to be a current events-based news program, we got to talk about all of it. And I'm going to start first with masks. There's a mask mandate. Joe Biden signed it. On federal property, you have to have your mask on. Airplanes, you have to have your mask on. I know a lot of people are still infuriated over the idea of having to wear masks. I will say this, though. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. And last night, they posted, every news source in America posted video of Joe Biden on federal property without his mask. And when asked about it, the press secretary basically said, well, he's got bigger things to worry about than wearing his mask. Well, that's true. That part is 100% true. Are there big things to worry about if you're the president? Enormous things. But if you're going to tell people they have to lead by example, it's one of the things you can't miss. And I think that that's probably a bad way, hour 48 in, to miss. And if you have to, think about this. On NFL sidelines, there are quality control coaches. There's a guy that just simply pulls Cliff Kingsbury back if he's too far onto the field. If you have to, hire somebody to make sure they're always behind you going, put the mask on. Mm-hmm. And so if we're going to call it down the middle, everybody was mad at Donald Trump when he didn't wear a mask, when everybody's in Fauci and every human being on the planet that has anything to do with science is telling you to do it. And if you're going to be mad at Trump for it, you have to be mad at Biden for it. Or you could be understanding to both of them if you so want to play that field. But 48 hours in and 24 hours after you sign the paper, the mandate, you need to do it too. You need to do it too.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think so much of this, so much of all our division is based on we're watching people telling us to do something, and then they're not doing it themselves. And again, other things on his mind, I can't even imagine. I couldn't even get ready for this show. It's the only thing I got going on. So what I imagine Joe Biden's going through is much heavier than my day-to-day life. But if you're going to do it, and you're going to tell everybody they have to do it, you're going to make it a law or a mandate, then you got to do it too. And that's not a good look thus far. I don't want to make too big of a deal about it because at the end of the day, there are much bigger problems. And I don't want to be the person I complained about yesterday going, well, this specific thing is different and I hate it. I don't want to be that person. But really, I mean, you can't sign that mandate and turn around and not do it and expect to not get the backlash from it. Mitch McConnell, he made some statements yesterday, and I think the play nice Mitch is over. He went from, this is what I think about, what Donald Trump's responsibilities are to being a part of the inauguration to now going, Joe Biden is heading down a dangerous path already. Well, it's 48 hours. I mean, you got 4 years. You might want to buckle in, Mitch, because you're probably not going to like a lot of this. And a lot of people aren't. But everybody needs probably a minute to breathe. I mean, we went from the most hotly contested race in history to 10 weeks of what is going to happen here, to a terrible incident, to a transfer of power, and it's been 48 hours since. For all the times that Senate goes on vacation when things need to be done, Mitch needs to give everybody a day off. I mean, seriously, don't you think that would probably benefit everybody to just back up and breathe for a second? Because you're not going to stop the things you don't like. You're not going to stop them. And yes, you can criticize them along the way for things that you don't like about what they're doing. But we've seen both parties in such a hurry to be damned to the other one. Maybe everybody just needs a break.
Yeah, go on vacation. Everybody go to the beach.
Well, I don't know that they'll all go to the beach, but I honestly think everybody involved in this process, and honestly, everybody in America seriously needs a break. Turn off your social media for a day. Don't answer your phone for a day. Like we need a break. We absolutely need a break. And no one's going to take one. I mean, I can't take one. Most people can't do that. But I never in my life, I've always been the person Lola, you and I talked about this even before I started here on the show. Like you even had an extra day of vacation that dragged into this year because people don't take their vacations sometimes.
Yeah.
People don't learn to relax. And I'm that person. I can't go anywhere for more than 3 days. I get twitchy. I just want to go back to my house.
Not me.
See, I'm the exact opposite. I like to go see other things, and then I want to immediately come back home. I was talking to somebody last night who was planning on going to LA soon to visit his brother, and I love to go to LA for like 3 days, and then I'm just like I gotta go home. I gotta go home. But I could do that at the beach. I could do that anywhere, and just be like, I want to go home. So I get that it's hard sometimes to break out of your normal routine, but if you're already prepared and you've got your finger on the angry emoji button on Facebook to just hit it and then type out your dissertation on how mad you are about somebody not wearing a mask, how mad you are about the flags being moved around in the Oval Office, man, you are going to lock up. You're going to lock up. We turn everything into something. And thinking about this being my father's birthday and all the years I didn't get to spend with my dad, I just have to kind of recall the 15 years that I had with him. And one of the things he always said was, don't make a mountain out of a molehill.
Absolutely.
Some things are not that big of a deal. But man, we absolutely cannot stop doing that. Our society just does not know how to relax. 1980s, Frankie says relax. He was right. Relax. But you're not going to. And the personal responsibility for, like we started the show talking about masks and Joe Biden not wearing his mask, there's a personal responsibility there to make sure you are wearing it. You're going to mandate something, you better do it too.
Where was he that he didn't have it on?
I think he was actually at the Capitol. And this, again, a story that really isn't a story. A man stands in Capitol, or wherever he was on federal property. It didn't have to be a thing. He wasn't out there. He wasn't doing this probably on purpose, probably just forgot. But it was the way it was handled through the press secretary that was just like, well, he's got bigger things to deal with. Well, yeah, he absolutely does. But this is something we're all dealing with. You want to be every man. You want to show everybody the example, the way you want Americans to change and react and act with one another. You have to do it. You have to do it. You can't tell somebody to do something and then turn around and not do it yourself. And that's where, again, you see people just going sideways. This might be my favorite argument I saw last night. People getting into a fight over. You want to know how petty we are as a society? People are sideways because Joe Biden removed the Diet Coke button out of the Oval Office. President Trump had a Diet Coke button installed. Which, you know what? If you're the president, you're a Diet Coke guy, you get you a Diet Coke button. You're the president. You can get that. I don't know why you can't just go get one out of a fridge, but whatever. You do you. And Joe Biden might not like Diet Coke, so he had the button removed.
It doesn't matter whether he likes Diet Coke or not. It's his damned office. It's his damn desk, and people should just lighten the heck up.
It's amazing.
I'm so tired of all of this already. It's like, let's just pick apart every single thing.
Yeah.
My God.
Yeah.
There are things that you cannot change. And, to paraphrase a slogan from AA, just give me the wisdom to know the difference. And if you can't change it, you can't. So what are you going to beat yourself or beat anybody else up for things that you have no control over? Shut up, take care of your neighbors, take care of your parents, take care of your kids, and do your job.
Yeah.
It's not your job to say whether he gets things on his desk or not.
I know. There's just got to be a part where you just wish you didn't know. And, honestly, I think it would be kind of cool. I wish I had a Hawaiian punch fountain at my house. And I'm not the president, so I'm probably not going to get one. But why is somebody mad about that? That's the silliest thing I've ever heard. I think it's cool that you had one if that's what you like, but if the next guy who's using that desk doesn't want it, it goes away. People were mad about moving the painting of Andrew Jackson out of the Oval Office. If that's not what you want in your office, then you take it out. You move something else in there. Doesn't erase Andrew Jackson from history, which is a whole nother conversation that people want to get mad about. But it's his office. What do you care what's in that office? Boy, people just get absolutely triggered by stuff like that. 304-214-1600. Does any of this make you mad? I'd love to know. I'd love to, honestly, if things that are happening already are making you that mad, I'd love to know what they are. And that doesn't mean you're wrong. It just means that I would love to know what it is that you see that's already fired you up. If it's a policy, if it's a mandate, yeah, be fired up. You don't have to agree with that stuff. But really, interior decorating has got you sideways? A Diet Coke button got you sideways? Man, there are just way, way bigger things. If you want to get into something heavier that actually should bother you, then let's talk about this. It's terrifying. Capitol Police are investigating Andy Harris for attempting to take a gun into the Capitol. That's not good. That's not good. Tried to bring a gun into the Capitol, onto the House floor. Now, I don't know much about him. I would not go down a path that I would lead you to misinformation because I don't want to do that. All I know is there's a reason that there are so many police at the Capitol. So you don't have to do that. I would never tell you to take away your right to carry a gun. But where they're not allowed, and there's a reason. That's a fully, well, at least what we thought, is a fully secured place. The investigations at the Capitol are going to be a long time in the making. A long time in the making for what happened. People are sideways about the Capitol Police having to rest outside during the inauguration. Well, you had two choices. You would have the hallways of the Capitol building lined with armed security, or you would have what you ended up getting was at least clean, clear, and not as terrifying pictures of guards lining the Capitol building during the inauguration. What's right and what's wrong? I don't know. I don't know. I'm sure there was more security there than you could ever possibly imagine. I'm sure that there were security dressed not in fatigues so you didn't see them. They just blended into the crowd. But people are mad that the guard had to go stand outside and rest in the parking lot as opposed to inside the Capitol, which we've seen pictures all week of them sleeping inside. Where do they go? I don't know. I don't know what the answer to that is. But when you didn't care they were sleeping on cots and your argument was, well, that's what they do. That's what the National Guard does. They show up, they deal with whatever the circumstances are, and they sleep on the hard marble floor. They don't need cots. And then you turn around and you're 6 days later outraged because they had to go outside to the parking lot to take a break. Which is it? Which one are you mad about? Are you mad that they had to go to the parking lot? Or are you mad that the liberals wanted them to have cots and sleep on the floor? Because the same people that argued 8 days ago are the same people arguing the other today. Yeah. Make up your mind. Make up your mind. Are they there to do what they're told and work in the conditions in which they're given? Or are you mad about the conditions they're given and they shouldn't have to do what they're told? That's where we're missing. That's where we're missing. Nobody knows where you stand. Nobody knows where you stand. And I don't know if you saw this, Lowell. I know that you get on social media every now and again and know what's going on there. But have you seen, there are two, I've seen two now. They're almost like statement letters from people that don't like Joe Biden. It's like, do I like Joe Biden? No. Do I want him to fail? No. And it's kind of like, it starts out as a very honest sounding thing. You don't have to like him, but am I rooting for him to fail? No, I'm not. That's good. Mm-hmm. That's good. Don't root for anybody to fail. And then instead of it just kind of ending there, do I think he'll do a good job? No. Do I hope he does? Yes. All fair enough. And then it goes into an insane ramble about liberals. Like, make your points actual points. Don't make them, I'm going to say this because I feel this way, but then I'm just going to tear everything I just said apart in the bottom, in the last paragraph.
Why can't they just shut up? You know.
Well, we're not going to shut up.
We're good. You did real good. Just, okay, now is the time to cut it off.
I think we all could use accountability coaches, whether it's to remind you to put your mask on if you're the president, whether it's somebody to sit at your house and monitor your tweeting and your posting to just go, hey, Jim, that would be the perfect way to end this post.
Stop now.
Yeah,
in parentheses, stop now.
Yeah, we're not doing it. And you're mad about the idea of Facebook and Twitter and all these places censoring the president and other people. Well, I can understand that, but if you get to the point where whatever you're saying is harmful, that is a different story. And I'm not saying anybody should be censored. I'm just saying harmful things do harm. However, President Trump might actually get his Facebook page back. Facebook went to they had a committee meeting on whether or not they should lift the ban on former President Trump's Facebook page. I look at it this way. I don't know that it matters now. If you're not prepared for Trump media, get prepared, because that's going to happen. And he's really the only person in this situation that actually did take a couple days off. I mean, think about it. Got on the plane, he got off the plane in Florida. You haven't heard peep. Maybe he's putting his feet up and relaxing because all this stuff is just so crazy. Maybe he's the only one that took a couple days off from all this madness.
That could be.
Yeah, I mean,
he's out there playing golf. That's what he loves to do.
And you know what? So do I. I love to play golf. It's bitter cold outside right now, and the wind won't stop blowing, so I can't go play golf. But if you're going to use everything that President Trump did as an example, use that as an example. Take a breather.
Yeah.
Put your feet up. Watch a hockey game. Have a drink.
Or two. Or
yeah.
4.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. As long as you're safe, do whatever it is that makes you feel good. But man, I think America needs to take a step back and breathe. I know I do. I don't know how we arrive at that point. I mean, even during unemployment, yeah, I wasn't doing as much, like work-wise, but it still felt heavy. Wondering what your future is feels very heavy. Everybody spend this weekend with like someone you love, something you like doing, somewhere you like being. Just give it a break and relax. I think we'll all do better if we do.
Hawaiian pizza and beer.
Oh yeah, you want your pineapple.
That's what we're doing tonight. Hawaiian pizza and beer.
Well, if you're doing that tonight, make sure you keep the watchdog on. We have Penguins action starting at 7 o'clock tonight. I know you won't. I know you don't want to listen to it. Lola's a Red Wings fan. But we do have hockey action for you tonight. Should be an interesting game against the Rangers, a 2-game series. 304-214-1600 is the phone number today in the show. We're going to have Stephen Allen Adams join us live at the 4 o'clock hour from the state capitol. A lot of swearings in today. We're going to talk about that as well as the website that's being launched to get people to arrive at making appointments for vaccinations. That will take effect on Monday, so we'll get into some state stuff with Steve. The playoffs for the NFL are this weekend. We'll get into some of that and some interesting numbers. Tom Brady, who always does make history, much to my dismay, could make even more this weekend. All that and more coming up on The Watchdog.
My little girl hurt her foot and needed a doctor fast, but her physician wasn't available, and I wanted her seen as soon as possible. Then I remembered the Wheeling Hospital Urgent Care, right in downtown Wheeling at the Stone Center on Market Plaza. Open 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. every day, the center is ideal if you have a sudden sickness or injury. The doctors and nurses were great, and they also provided x-rays, a pharmacy, and lab draw station. No appointments needed, and convenient parking is nearby. Wheeling Hospital Urgent Care. They'll take good care of you.
I'm not buying till I checked on Ford.
Most of us are faced with uncertainty every day. Your job, your finances, sporting events, schooling for your children, and so much more. With so much uncertainty surrounding you, there is one auto dealership that you can be certain about, and that's Doan Ford. You can be certain that you always get a great deal and the best service afterwards. Being in business for over 50 years has given Doan Ford the reputation of being a strong, reliable dealership. Be certain. Choose Doan Ford. Online at doanford.com.
I'm not buying till I checked on Ford.
When winter weather strikes the Ohio Valley, you can trust the Storm Tracker 7 weather team to help you plan your day. Our experienced meteorologists stay connected with you on TV, online, and on social. Get your weather information straight from a local source. We'll help you be prepared and make sure you'll never be surprised.
And we do expect dry conditions overnight, tonight, and all day tomorrow.
Meteorologist Dr. Dave Walker, Aaron Mylar, and me, Zach Petty, the Storm Tracker 7 weather team. Working.
Menards has everything you need to make your home a better place to live. Save big money on all the top name brand products you know and love, like Tide and Era laundry detergent, Bounty paper towels, Swiffer dusters, Charmin bath tissue, and more. A 96 load bottle of Era liquid laundry detergent is just $7.99 now at Menards. Prices are good until January 31st.
Save big money at Menards.
Now's a great time to go Toyota for reliability, value, and style. And RAV4 is the #1 selling SUV in America over the last year, with available all-wheel drive in gas or hybrid models. Now get up to $1,000 cash back from Toyota through February 1st. For more offers, shop Toyota's official website for deals, buyatoyota.com. Then see your Toyota dealer. Go Toyota, and let's go places.
Hello, I'm Chuck Reddick, Commissioner of the Internal Revenue Service. We're working hard to get ready for tax filing season. You know who else is working hard? Identity thieves. Keep your computers and your mobile phones secure. Use antivirus software and strong passwords. Look out for email scams. Secure your home Wi-Fi with a password. Stay safe when you shop online. Look for HTTPS in the web address. See irs.gov for details.
Does your dog need groomed or walked? Are you looking for a pet sitter or dog boarding options? If so, call Dirty Paws, Wheeling's newest pet care service, providing the Ohio Valley with everyone's pet care needs. Check us out on Facebook at Dirty Paws WHG or call 304-639-7754.
Wheeling Coin and Hobby on 10th Street in Wheeling, next to the Bridge Tavern in downtown Wheeling, wants to buy any and all unwanted gold and silver jewelry. They are paying top dollar for 10, 14, 18, and 22 karat gold plus 925 sterling silver. They also want to buy collectible coins and paper money from before 1933. Wheeling Coin and Hobby is open daily from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., Monday through Saturday. Coin and Hobby, 304-232-8430, and add them on Facebook.
For all of your IT needs, visit OmniPerforms.com. Omni Strategic Technologies, the only IT company that the watchdog trusts.
The Metro News Update is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
Ceremonies underway at the state capitol this hour. Governor Jim Justice being sworn in for a second time, delivering his inaugural address. Also taking the ceremonial oath today, members of the State Board of Public Works and members of the State Supreme Court. It's a very sparse crowd for the event due to the COVID-19 protocols. You can see that event happening this hour at WVMetroNews.com. The state says it is ready to roll out a COVID-19 vaccination registration system starting Monday morning. It'll be a central location for you to go online or call to get the list, and then be connected with an appointment time and a location. State Department of Health and Human Resources Secretary Bill Crouch says the new system will be the best place to register.
We expect this to take a lot of the telephone load off of our local health departments.
And Governor Jim Justice says he's already been on the phone with the person who's heading up vaccine distribution for the Biden administration in hopes of getting more doses for the Mountain State.
I'm trying every way in the world, every way I possibly can to make things easier and better for you, and I hear you. And I don't like the fact that you're having to call and call and call.
Right now, the state's set to receive just more than 23,000 doses for next week. A horrible sight for those filling up their cars at the Clarksburg Go-Mart this morning. Clarksburg police say a man pulled up to the pumps, got out, doused himself in gas, then set himself on fire. Investigators say it was a suicide. Nobody else was injured. You're listening to Metro News, the voice of West Virginia. There continue to be positive trends in the state's COVID-19 statistics. Today's positivity rate is down to 4.93% in the report from the DHHR. Active cases continue their decline as well, despite 998 new cases that were confirmed today and 7 more fatalities. Now, on the daily alert map, there are 15 counties in red, 27 orange, 8 in gold, 4 in yellow, and 1 Tucker County is green, the lowest level of transmission. From the Metro News Anchor Desk, I'm Chris Lawrence.
He can talk up and down Route 2 and Route 7 at the same time. Just ask him. Keeping it real for your ride home. It's Real Big Talk with Big Rick on The Watchdog.
Welcome back, everybody. 240. I'm Big Rick. Real Big Talk. Lola's here, too. I just want to spend the day avoiding the big topics. I hate that. I hate feeling like that, but we've had to kill it all week with this stuff. So let's use our imaginations now. Now I'd really love to hear from you. You can text us, too. 304-214-1600. Mega Millions is worth $1 billion. B. It's a B. What would you do? This isn't... I had a friend in college who won $2,500 on a scratch-off ticket. You would have thought that we won $1 billion. You know how much just pizza and terrible beer, $1,500 or $2,500 buys? We were good. We were good. But this is life-changing. It's life-changing for the next few generations of your family. Possibly all the generations of your family if played correctly. I saw this article last night. It was on KDKA. So I thought I would read it and just see what they said. Dreams of Mega Millions. Why a $1 billion lottery prize could be a dream and a nightmare. I'm thinking to myself, we all remember Jack Whitaker.
Yes. He's a poster boy.
Jack Whitaker, I mean, in the fact that it happened here in West Virginia, but Jack Whitaker is a story for all mankind when it comes to lottery winnings. I mean, let's go ahead and just recount some of the life and times of Jack Whitaker. Real quick. You don't want to dwell on anybody's sadness, but after winning a whole big pile of money, and it was the biggest jackpot in history that Jack Whitaker won. Family tragedies, lots of legal tragedies. I mean, I think he had like $500,000 in a suitcase in his car at the strip club. He got robbed. I mean, it was just bad. It was from cross lanes. So, I mean, it's, most of us that have ever gone down to that part of the state, you know exactly where cross lanes is. Not terribly far from Charleston or Huntington. But what a disaster that was. So, yeah, there are, and instantly you write that off and go, well, I would never do that. I would never do that. If I won, I would never do that. We find ourselves when we buy that $2 lottery ticket, like I said the other day, it's really just your opportunity to take a couple minutes and daydream. The chances of you winning are basically nothing. They're just so minute.
1 in 100 million. I mean, that's.
So you're saying there's a chance?
Yeah, and as God told Saul, you gotta buy a ticket.
Yeah, you do. You want to win, you got to buy a ticket. But I was reading this article because outside of Jack Whitaker, I mean, they've done shows. They're like, I think the Learning Channel did a whole series about people that won the lottery. I think now they combine lottery winners with dream homes on one channel. Like, I'm $1 million lottery winner looking for my dream home, and now that's a show. So, I mean, oh yeah, they did.
I know.
Reality TV will just combine anything. It's like, I like to fish, and I also like to shine my shoes. Next on Fox. You know, I mean, it's just like they'll just just throw things together, make shows out of it. But everybody says, well, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. Here's what really happens. And this is from certified financial planners who have dealt with people who have won huge jackpots. So they would know. As you're sitting there looking at the billboard, if you're driving down, Route 7 and you see the billboard for tonight's Mega Millions, you're like, $1 billion. It's crazy. Here's the things that people really do incorrectly when they win. You tell somebody. Tell no one. Tell no one.
Nope, nope, and nope.
But I can understand, I can understand the excitement of winning. And I say this as someone who doesn't win, so I know. I don't really know. But if you are holding a piece of paper that you can cash in for $1 million prize, how could you not tell someone? I mean, the hardest thing in the world to do, if you don't die of a heart attack right there.
That would be my problem.
That's the first hurdle. Don't die of a heart attack. If you saw those numbers on your ticket, don't die of a heart attack. Because I would legitimately be concerned for myself if that happened. I'm going to just stroke out right there. But don't tell anybody. Because if you tell two people, it's like the telephone game. Then they tell two people, then they tell two people. And this happens, I can't even imagine. I'd love to know somebody who actually won a big enough jackpot for things like this to happen to. But I guess the amount of mail that you get with people telling you their problems and why they need help, I guess is so astronomical you can't even fathom it. So
relatives coming out of the walls. Yeah, we're like 32nd cousins, and
it sounds like kind of funny. It's like, oh yeah, of course, your 32nd cousin comes out of the wall. If I don't know you now, you would just have to not ever get to know anyone else. I would think part of the damaging process of winning this kind of, absurdly huge amount of money is that you would have to stay incredibly guarded for the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm.
If you weren't married, you would always, no matter if you were a man or a woman, you would always wonder, is someone trying to get to know me because I have $1 billion? And it's one thing when an athlete becomes, a multi-millionaire, billionaire in the case of a few of them, Jordan, Woods, but they gradually, they get a lot of money and then they turn that lot of money into a lot more money, to a lot more money, to a lot more money. There's really not a book on how to get a big pile of money like this at one time. This is a fortune that even some of the best athletes in the world, and I'm not saying only athletes make money, so don't call and get all sideways. This isn't just about athletes. All I'm saying is, if someone gets handed $1 billion who just had like a $35,000 a year job, that there's no book for that. But if you come out of college and you're treated well, and then you sign a rookie contract worth a couple $1 million, you then have the opportunity to eat better, live better, sleep better, drive a better car, things that are what all of us who have basic, normal, regular jobs want to get to.
Mm-hmm.
Those are, and so, take Juju Smith-Schuster, for example. Perfect time to talk about it. He signs a rookie contract, which is great news for him because he lives better, he sleeps better, he eats better, drives a better car. He drove a bike for a while there, he didn't have a license. Think about that. And now he can drive whatever he wants, and he's a Tesla guy. And he lives in a really nice home. Not the biggest home you could buy, but a nice place. Now he is on the cusp of signing, after his rookie deal, his second contract. So he's going to take all the accomplishments he had in his first couple of seasons on his rookie contract, and whether it's the Steelers or not, someone is going to pay him a lot more than the first time he got paid a lot. And then probably after that, another time he'll get paid 2 or 3 times as much as he gets paid this time. So he gradually gets a bigger house, bigger car, nicer bed, all the things that we all would like to have in a normal capacity, even though we can't imagine, most of us, having the money that Juju Smith-Schuster has now. Imagine being you, working at the car dealership, being an accountant, being a radio host, and you go from average life, average car, average house, whatever your situation is, to having $1 billion. There's no way to even fathom it. You have to become a different person. You always have to remember, I don't know what this person's end game is that's trying to get to know me. Because you're going to get every investment opportunity. Let me tell you about this great investment opportunity I've got. All it's going to take is $2 million a year. You're going to get. You couldn't go to a Nailers game. Like, if you're from Wheeling and you win this money, you can't go to a Nailers game. You just would be swarmed by people. I think it would be incredibly difficult. But that being said, I still want to know what it feels like. So if it happens to me, I will be more than happy about it. But these tips and things that people are saying that have helped control, or at least attempt to control, the spending and what happens to these huge lottery winners, it looks kind of terrifying. I never thought I'd say that about a big pile of money, but it actually looks kind of terrifying. You can't control what happens. And here's the saddest part of it all at the end of the article that I read. They suggest that you take the lump sum of money and run. Now, a lot of people don't know this, but $1 billion, you don't get $1 billion. You don't even get close to it. If you take the lump sum and run, by the time you're finished, that $1 billion becomes $451 million. So the billion is the cool billboard number. The reality number after you take the you take the lump sum, which is essentially half up front, and then you play out the taxes and whatever, is $451 million after federal taxes.
I don't know that I could live on that.
Well, I mean, you'd still have to come here. You still have to press the buttons back there, still pick music.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, but that's still, it's still a crazy amount of money, but that was always something that I think people always miss. It's like, it's $1 billion. No, it's not.
See, I drive past that big billboard.
That's I'm talking,
every single night, every night. I look at the number, and then as I'm going home in my 97 pickup, I take that number, cut it in half, and then give myself 2/3 because the government's going to take 1/3. You know, and I know that's really ballpark. I mean, that's just
sure.
And then I spend the rest of the time thinking, all right, if I win this, I need first thing you have to do. Not yet, is absolutely not tell anybody. Get a really good financial advisor, somebody, and a good attorney that can deal with that kind of stuff. And then you get it socked into a trust, or
Sure.
And then I'd have to donate a little bit of money to Masterpiece Theater.
Well, that's your thing. I mean, that's your thing. I agree. I would probably do the same. I have a really good friend who is a financial advisor who lives in Cleveland, and we've been friends since we were teenagers. Like, I always thought if I won, and that's the thing, that's what these billboards do. They make you start to calculate, what am I going to do with my money when I win it, just because you see this big number up on a billboard. We got a phone call? Do we have a phone call?
Oh, yeah.
You're like, oh, yeah.
It's Earl.
Earl, what's on your mind?
Yeah, we were just sitting here listening to you. I watched a program about people who hit the lottery, and they say the best thing to do is take $500,000 of mad money and spend it on whatever you want. They say if you make it through the whole $500,000, then you'll know what you want to do with the rest of your money.
Yeah, that's an interesting theory, because really to most of us the idea of instantly spending $500,000 is so foreign that you might get bored and go, it was fun, but what do I need all this stuff for? Yeah, I mean, that's actually kind of a good piece of advice.
But I was telling my mom here, I said, I always said that if I ever hit the lottery, I would pay off whatever I owed. I would pay off whatever immediate family that talks to me. I'd pay off their homes, whatever. I said then I would donate to the soup kitchen, Catholic charities, and I would buy the old clay school, have somebody go in there, completely remodel the whole place, and have it for the homeless people in Wheeling.
That's a wonderful thought. That's a wonderful thought.
But I never hit, so, you know.
Well, you know what, Earl? I got to tell you what. If I don't win and Lola doesn't win, I hope it's you.
Wouldn't that be nice?
That would be wonderful, man. It would be wonderful. And that's what you want to hear. You know, I think a lot of people share your enthusiasm about making things better for where they're from. I mean, I would immediately help out my high school. I went to a small Catholic high school in McKeesport, Pennsylvania, Sarah Catholic High School. I would immediately make sure that kids that can't afford to go there but are qualified to go there get that education that I barely got because my parents struggled to send me there. But that would, to me, seems like the obvious thing because my dad was so proud of the fact that he worked to get me into that school. I think giving back to people is what you have to do. But I would imagine that just for the sake of taxes, you have to give back some of it. You know, I mean, you have to look like you're doing that.
Yeah. And the biggest thing I would do for myself would be to buy like maybe 100 acres of land and put me a nice little house, nothing elaborate, right in the middle of it, out in the middle of nowhere.
I tell you what, if I win,
city life, it ain't funny.
this is my promise to you, Earl. If I win, I'm gonna buy you that 100 acres.
There you go.
You hold me to it. So if I'm not here on Monday, you know what happened, buddy. And somewhere I'll find you.
Okay.
I'll put the sold sign on your 100 acres, and you can just show up and build your place.
All right, thank you.
All right, pal. Have a great weekend.
You guys too.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Yeah, I mean, that's really, what do you do? I would take care of my high school. I would take care of my little nieces. They would never want for a thing, ever. And that's not good sometimes. That's not good. I always want, I don't ever want them to struggle, but if they don't struggle, they're never going to learn anything either. But I guess when you have a $500 million, you don't have to worry about that kind of stuff. I don't know. One of my favorite lines ever from a movie, actually this is making me feel better just to talk about something like this and daydream a little bit. One of my favorite lines from a movie is at the end of Kingpin, when Big Ernie McCracken wins the $1 million bowling prize. And one of the reporters that's interviewing at the end says, ask him a question. He was like, I don't care, I'm above the law. I mean, seriously, with $1 million back in 1990 something, whenever that movie was made. I mean, you think about it, you can buy yourself out of pretty much anything with $500 million.
Yeah.
Pretty much anything. I would love to know, and I'm sure it's out there, and I'll look when we go to break just to see if I can find the number. How much money does $500 million make every day in interest? You couldn't even smoke through the interest.
No, I know.
Of that much money. And that's really the mind-blowing thing. Like, you could have the nicest house you want, the nicest cars you want, the best insurance, the best everything. And I don't think you could smoke through the interest money. That's how much money your money would make.
Oh, my goodness. I'm just like, oh.
See, now, I tried to do this to pick us up, and now you're sad because we're probably not going to win.
Not sad. I'm in fantasy land.
It does.
Like, oh, my.
It does. It's kind of, it gives you that little bit of a euphoric feeling when you drive past that bill. And that's why I mentioned the billboards. For me, it's coming in on 70.
Yeah.
And at the split there, the big billboards are there. And I'm just like, yeah, every time. I didn't realize the kind of hold the lottery has on us until we really started talking about it. But just to look at the billboard, you start to wonder. Lola's already dividing up her taxes over there.
I am.
It is. It's amazing the hold that has on us. Well, if you do have a little bit of money, we'll get into this real quick, and I'll mention it a couple times during the show today. and you want to spend it, you got something burning a hole in your pocket. A lot of people do have a little extra hanging around because they didn't go on vacation, they didn't do this, they didn't do that. There is a huge online auction only happening. It's Frio Stack and Associates, and it's happening online. Bidding closes Monday, January 25th. So it's coming up this Monday. You got this weekend. There's a ton of stuff to look at. And just a few of the things that I found interesting, there's some Wheeling Ironman semi-pro football team photos, articles, historical slides, and stuff like that. There's some stuff too. If you went to Bethany, I shouldn't say that. I know JoJo's kind of eyeing up this cool felt Bethany flag. But there's a few things on there that for everybody. You went to Wheeling Central Catholic High School. There's yearbooks from 79 through or from 67 to 69. So if you went to school and you don't know where your yearbook is, there's a chance to actually find a piece of history of your own life. Maybe in there. There's different toys. There's some sports memorabilia too. Check it out. You can do so at FrioAuctions.com for more information. 304-233-3168 is the phone number. So go spend a little something.
Gotta go.
Gotta go. We'll be back on the Watchdog.
The Watchdog is FM 98.1, AM 1600 WKKX Wheeling, FM 97.7, AM 1370 WVLY Moundsville.
The ABC News is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
With each day, with millions of Americans out of work and not knowing what comes next. On the second full day of his administration, President Biden will sign more executive orders, he says, to help fill the gaps until Congress can take up another relief package. National Economic Director Brian Deese at the White House earlier detailed some of those plans.
Increasing the SNAP benefits, emergency SNAP benefits for as many as 12 million low-income Americans. This is the core program targeted at preventing hunger in America.
The White House says it's not to replace the bigger $1.9 trillion rescue package Congress will take up. The Senate steeped up in confirmation hearings and timelines for an impeachment. Treasury Secretary nominee Janet Yellen could be up next for a full vote today. In a vote of 93-2, the Senate confirming Lloyd Austin as the Secretary of Defense, the retired four-star Army general, becoming the first African-American to lead the Defense Department. Along with the economic pain, the federal government working to ramp up vaccination rollout. This as states are reporting dwindling supplies of current COVID-19 vaccines that were shipped out under the previous administration.
We're learning more about President Biden's plan to fully mobilize the federal government in the vaccination effort. FEMA would operate up to 100 federally run mass vaccination sites across the country. Up until now, administering vaccines has been left up to the states. The largest of the sites could administer up to 6,000 doses a day. To increase the workforce and expedite vaccinations, the Biden strategy encouraging states to waive licensing requirements as appropriate for those administering the vaccine. Dave Packer, ABC News.
Meantime, cases around the country continuing to surge with hard-hit areas, starting to see some glimmers of hope with new cases dropping. California, though, reporting a record high death count from COVID-19 today, 764 deaths in the past 24 hours. You're listening to ABC News.
The IRS doesn't mess around. If they want your money, they'll take it. They can take your paycheck and bank accounts too, even threaten your home or business. Don't take on the IRS alone. If you owe back taxes, the smartest thing you can do is call Optima Tax Relief. The experts at Optima specialize in a powerful IRS tax assistance program called the Fresh Start Initiative. And their clients that qualify are saving thousands, even tens of thousands. One call starts the process to stop the demand letters, stop aggressive collection actions, and stop the IRS from targeting you. But don't delay. It's important to act now while you still have options. Optima is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. Optima has already resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. Get your life back. For tax help you need, for tax help you can trust, call Optima now for your free consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
A big raid against a powerful Italian crime group.
Italy gets ready to sue U.S. pharmaceutical company Pfizer after sudden delays in delivering pre-ordered vaccines to Europe. I'm ABC's Megan Williams in Rome.
Ma purtroppo
i ritardi nelle consegne.
The head of Italy's coronavirus vaccine rollout, Domenico Arcuri, says government lawyers here are preparing legal action against Pfizer. That's after the U.S. drug company announced delayed.
Baseball legend Hank Aaron has died.
Fastball is a high drive. He was baseball's home run king, overtaken years later by Barry Bonds, but Bonds' record carries controversy.
A black man is getting a standing ovation in the Deep South.
Aaron eclipsed Babe Ruth's record in his 23-year baseball career, mostly with the Braves, first in Milwaukee and then in Atlanta. Aaron broke the home run record in 1974 and retired 2 years later. To fans, he was known as Hammerin' Hank. In retirement, he became a voice for civil rights. Hank Aaron was 86 years old. Alex Stone, ABC News.
A panel of Virginia lawmakers has advanced a bill removing a statue of segregationist Harry Byrd Sr. from state capitol grounds. Byrd served as governor and U.S. senator. And tonight, you could be lucky. The Mega Millions jackpot, now up to $1 billion. This is ABC News.
For the ones standing guard. For the eagle-eyed. For the knights in shining armor. And for all those who support them. We are Grainger, your experienced safety partner, offering supplies and solutions for every industry, committed to helping keep your facilities safe and your people safer. Call, click Grainger.com/safety, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
I'm Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
Hey, I'm going to the kitchen. Can I grab you a Coors Light?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Huh. I never knew there was a zip line in my fridge. Hey! Hey, buddy! Yeah? You got 2 Coors Lights up there?
You got it! Always brewed down to 34 degrees. With a taste as cold as the Rockies, only Coors Light gives you refreshment every time.
Here you go. 2 Coors Lights.
Awesome, man. Wow, these are really cold.
That's the only way I deliver it.
Sure. I mean, you being a mountain climber and all.
Yep.
You probably need a pretty warm coat in there, huh?
Yep.
Hey, Ben!
Yeah!
Ask him if he has any nachos.
You got any nachos in there?
No.
Just icy cold Coors Light?
Yep.
That makes sense. It is the Rockies.
Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. With great beer comes great responsibility.
Are you struggling to make payments due to an unexpected financial obligation or loss of income? Are you receiving calls from debt collectors? Are you feeling overwhelmed and unsure of what steps to take next? Then you need the experience and expertise of attorney Tom McIntyre and his staff to help guide you through these temporary hardships. Want to hear more about how Tom can help? Then call 877-456-4155 and receive a free copy of Tom's ebook, When Bad Things Happen to Good People. Tom's ebook covers many questions people have about bankruptcy and includes interesting stories about people who tried to avoid filing and people who have filed for bankruptcy. We think you'll be surprised to learn some interesting facts about bankruptcy. Call 877-456-4155.
For all of your IT needs, visit OmniPerforms.com. Omni Strategic Technologies, the only IT company that the watchdog trusts.
Menards is your complete plumbing headquarters. Save on over 300 kitchen and bath faucets from Moen in the store and on Menards.com. Moen faucets give you a lifetime of beauty, reliability, and innovative features. Moen products are built to last. Save big on all the latest styles and finishes of Moen faucets. Now at Menards. Savings are good until January 31st.
Save big money at Menards.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Hello, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm the Storm Tracker, Darnell Foster. With a look at your local weather forecast for your Friday under mostly cloudy skies. A chilly day in store, 33 for the daytime high, 21 for the overnight low under mainly cloudy skies. You'll see plenty of sunshine, but stays rather chilly for your Saturday with highs in the upper 20s. Have yourself a great day, everyone. From the Watchdog,
I'm Darnell Foster.
The views and opinions expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of this station or its sponsors. News, talk, sports, and rock is all right here. Right now. Back to Real Big Talk with Big Rick on the Watchdog.
Guess who just got back today? Them wild-eyed boys that had been away haven't changed, had much to say. But man, I still think them cats are crazy. They were asking if you were around, how you was, where you could be found. I told them you were living downtown, driving all the old men crazy. The boys are back in town, boys are back in town. I said, boys are back in town, boys are back in town.
Welcome back, everybody. Real Big Talk. I'm Big Rick. That's Lola. And that is the sweet sounds of Thin Lizzy. Phil Lynott was by far, my absolute favorite artist that I never got to see. Thin Lizzy still performs. Obviously, Phil has not been around for quite a long time, but I love Thin Lizzy. You know, we're going to have to discuss some things that are troublesome today, or at least a little heavier than usual. But I did find a couple of good news pieces. They came out of the inauguration that I wanted to share. After the inauguration, poet Amanda Gorman tops the Amazon bestseller list. Twice. I watched it as it happened, listened to it. I had it on in my office and then had the video up as well. It's still, the poise of that young woman amazes me. Amazes me. At 22, I probably could never have done what she did at the inauguration. If you haven't listened to it, if you have especially young daughters and granddaughters, nieces, things like that, show them this. I mean, show everybody. But show them what she did at the inauguration. It was pretty amazing. Very, very heartwarming. Gave you hope. If you're one of those people that just is afraid for the future, kind of gave you some hope that young people can really do some amazing things. We got to stop. And I'm guilty of it sometimes myself, but we have to stop just assuming that the future is ruined because young people aren't what we expect them to be. There's something different maybe, but they're also capable. They're capable of different things than you and I are capable of. And they'll do different things. And it doesn't mean there'll be worse things, it just means they'll be different than the way we think about it. A lot of people are guilty of that, and I am probably one of them. The single greatest thing that came out of this entire week isn't a peaceful transfer of power. It is a meme, the Bernie Sanders memes. We talked about them a little bit yesterday. The explosion from what we saw yesterday to today is absolutely the best thing. Whoever would have thought, and I know that someone would take flack for this, whoever would have thought we would have begun healing this country by feeling the burn.
I know.
I'm not a Bernie Sanders guy. It's not a political thing. It's not a political thing in any way, shape, or form. I don't want Bernie Sanders to be the president, and I didn't before, and I don't now. But what I can say is this. This stupid meme has brought people together. I posted one of Bernie Sanders. If you haven't seen this, just go anywhere on the internet, and you can go to Ask Jeeves if that still exists, which I don't think it does. But I mean, you don't even, just go to Google and type in Bernie Sanders memes, and you will go down a glorious rabbit hole for hours. Bernie has been everywhere in the last 48 hours. So yesterday, I posted on my personal Facebook page Bernie Sanders sitting on the Simpsons couch. And it got a lot of reaction on my page.
But what I saw for the first time in a long time, and this is as true as could be, my very, very right Trump-loving friends loved it. My very liberal Bernie-loving friends loved it. And all my in-betweeners also loved it. It was the first time in a long time I felt like you could post something to social media and everybody was into it.
Oh, I know. They're absolutely hilarious.
And I mean, there are now websites that you can go to. You can put Bernie in your own personal photos. And it's just this miserable picture of a man sitting there with his mittens on and his arms crossed and his mask on, and he looks unhappy to be there. And it's tremendous. It's tremendous. Finally, some unity, Lola.
I particularly like the one where he's in a penalty box.
He's in. That's great. That's great. The Nailers, you can check it out. The Nailers Facebook page. Actually, we shared it to ours as well at the Watchdog on Facebook. Go check it out there. He's in the middle of a fight, waiting for a fight, and at West Banco Arena. You can put him anywhere.
I know.
Here's where it's time to give credit where credit is due. Not only has Bernie been cool about the whole thing, on his website, which I know many people are not going to go to, but on his website, he is actually selling a sweatshirt with him sitting in the chair, the meme of him sitting there. It's a $45 sweatshirt. All the proceeds go to Meals on Wheels. That's cool. That's cool. That's literally putting your meme where your mouth is. I'm a meme. I'm going to feed people with it. Yep. That's tremendous. That's tremendous. That's not a political thing. That's not a I want socialism thing. That's not a don't get crazy and call me and go, you're a socialist thing. It's just a nice thing. It's just a nice thing. He's probably a nice man. Doesn't mean you have to follow him politically. He's probably just a nice guy who can laugh at himself. God, how good would the world be if everybody was just a nice guy that could laugh at themselves?
He's always been that way. When he's been on talk shows with like Colbert and Myers, anybody, he's always been able to laugh at himself. Especially when like Saturday Night Live and all that. Yeah, I think Bernie's really cool. Yes, I wouldn't have voted for him either, but Bernie's cool.
Yeah, I mean, to be able to do that, so many people get uptight about their image and this and that. I mean, he ran for president twice and he didn't win. And he didn't come close. And I think he realizes that where he is where he is. But I think he still also wants to do what he thinks is best for America.
Absolutely.
But he also can laugh at himself. And when you can laugh at yourself and try to do what's right and try to push people forward, whether you agree with him or not, he is trying to do his best and what he thinks is best. And that I can appreciate. Mm-hmm. That I can appreciate. And the fact that he's going to feed people because he looked like a grumpy old man in a chair, that's tremendous. It's tremendous work. And like I said, it for the first time in a long time, it brought a group of my friends who are so different for everyone to just laugh. And I mean, I'm sure this did this for a lot of people. I just noticed it because it was mine. But my hardcore Trumpers and my absolutely left liberals all, chatted with each other in the comments about how funny it was. And now they may not necessarily know one another and know that one is very hard to this way, the other one is very hard that way. But at the end of time, they just laughed together.
Yeah.
That was helpful. That was really helpful. And they're just tremendous. I can't say enough about how funny that really is. 304-214-1600, 304-214-1600. Also, if you have a favorite Bernie meme you want to send it to us, you can do so through our Facebook page, The Watchdog on Facebook. If you don't follow us, make sure you click the like button and send us your favorite. I could load that Facebook page up with, I have like 50 of them saved in my phone. And that's just the 50 funniest ones that I like. There's hundreds of these memes out there that will just absolutely make you laugh. Speaking of make you laugh, Dave Chappelle, I watched the Dave Chappelle show again, not the show itself, but the Netflix series or the Netflix special. Dave Chappelle has COVID. He has tested positive for COVID. Hopefully, Dave Chappelle is okay. And Dave Chappelle lives in Ohio, and not in Columbus, not in Cleveland, not in Cincinnati. He lives like in rural Ohio.
Really?
Yeah, he bought a big piece of land there, and his neighbors are farmers. He wanted to be able to, and I can't remember the name of the city, and I was thinking about it because I watched the special again last night. He does shows on his property. Like, people just come and watch him there.
That's cool.
Yeah. He was supposed to do, he has been doing shows in Texas. I mean, there are a few places, a few states, obviously Florida is one of them, Texas is another, where things are not normal, but moving forward. People are going to things and people are booking things. Really, Texas and Florida are the only two places I know people are actively doing stuff. I have friends that are in a band that are currently on tour in Texas because that's really the only place they could do it. But Dave Chappelle actually canceled those shows, and he was scheduled to have on one of those shows. I saw a picture of him, Joe Rogan, and Elon Musk. What must that conversation be like? What must that conversation be like? Elon Musk's wife was there. That's not easy to say. Elon Musk's wife was there. Her name is Grimes, and they named their kid something I can't even explain. Have you ever seen the kid's name?
No.
It's a series of numbers and letters. Look, Elon Musk obviously has something most of us don't have.
Money.
Well, I mean, not only that, it's just mentally. He thinks at a different level.
Yeah.
He thinks at a different level, and that's not an overly praising of any kind. It's just that he thinks differently than most people, and whatever he's thought of, he's been able to activate and do. I mean, if you've heard of Tesla, that's him. And that's just one little piece of what Elon Musk does. So, but he's so peculiar, and he had a baby with this woman named Grimes. I think she is also an entertainer, social media, something, I don't know. But the child's name is a series of letters and a couple of I's at the end, which I don't know if they're supposed to be Roman numerals. I don't know. I wouldn't even be able to tell you how to say it. But that shouldn't screw that kid up at all.
Oh, no.
Being the parents of Elon Musk, someone named Grimes, and then having a name you can't pronounce. That shouldn't do her in. No, she'll be fine. She'll be fine. But yeah, I felt bad Chappelle had. Dave Chappelle he's not for everybody, nor does he try to be, which I can appreciate. And this Netflix special coincided with him a couple of weeks ago. He did the opening monologue on Saturday Night Live. I'll let you know if you do explore looking at that, watching it, it's explicit. There are words in there that really are words that probably shouldn't be said on TV or anywhere. But that's how he does it. And you know what? You can't argue with the success of Dave Chappelle. But it's uncomfortable to watch. And maybe that's okay. Maybe that's okay. Maybe it's time to do the uncomfortable things and get past them, or at least learn to deal with them. But it is uncomfortable to watch. I do not recommend you watching it with a small child, because then you have a lot of explaining to do. I mean, a lot of explaining to do to a kid. But it's worth the watch. It's definitely thought-provoking. I'll leave it there, because I can't really talk about it. I want to, but if you go down that path, you go all the way down it, it's really a difficult thing, and I don't mind the challenge of a difficult conversation. What I do mind is over-explaining it to the point it becomes a problem for the radio station. That's really what I'm worried about talking about, is I don't want it to sound like something that would get any of us in trouble, but I can't believe NBC was able to air it. And NBC is definitely one of the places that if there is going to be a huge leeway, that's probably the place. But it's something. So if you watch it, just know it comes along with some explaining to do to a young kid. 304-214-1600 is our phone number. I guess it's unavoidable. We do have to talk about other things that are not as necessarily easy to talk about or lighter here on this Friday afternoon. But I guess the good news for a lot of hungry families, especially, and this affects West Virginians so much, is that President Biden is expanding the opportunity to get food stamps. And that really matters.
Yes, it does.
That really matters. Right now, during this time in this pandemic, this time of year, the opportunity for hungry families to get an opportunity to eat a little bit more, that matters. Now, you can say what you want when the pandemic is over, and we'll see how it goes back into place or where things can be placed when the pandemic is over and how some of this stuff is slowly rolled back when things get a little closer to normal. But for right now, you can't argue with the fact. Go outside and look. There are hungry people right outside in your community. So this is good news. I don't know how quickly it's all going to take effect and how it'll affect people individually. But what's offered isn't enough. It's not a time of year where, especially here in West Virginia and in Ohio and Pennsylvania, where a lot of things are growing and you're able to grow your own food if that's a thing that you're capable of doing. I for one, can't grow a garden to save my life.
Can't either.
Yeah, it's just not my thing. This is good news, and it should help. It should help. This is the hot button that came along with it, though. Raising minimum wage to $15 for federal government employees only at this moment. So people are hot. People are hot over this. Some people are desperate to see the minimum wage go up to $15. Some people are dead set against it. Right now, it is going to go up to $15 for any federal employee. I'll be honest with you, I couldn't imagine a federal job paid less than that. I don't know what it would be.
Yeah, that's true. That was the first thought that crossed my mind too when you said that. But evidently there has to be.
I mean, you'd think even, and I'm not belittling any of the jobs that you could have. I mean, if you have a job, regardless of what it is and how much money you make, you're doing your part. You're doing your part. You know, when you get to a certain age and it's time to have a job, some people make X number of dollars over here. Some people make way bigger dollars over here. Some people make in the middle. But if you are trying, you're trying. And that's all you can do, if that's all you can do. But what job and it didn't list it and I can't find it. I did look before we came on the air today because I knew I wanted to get to this, but I didn't know exactly what jobs in the federal government there would be that were $15 or under $15 anyway. I mean, you'd have to think anybody that works in a federal garden, in a federal prison. And all of these people would have to make more than $15 an hour. So I don't, in a kitchen that is operated by the federal government. I mean, you think about all the people that work in the restaurant industry that make less than $15 an hour. I mean, how they treat waitresses is terrible. Or servers, I should say servers. How they treat servers is terrible. I mean, a lot of times they make like $1.44 an hour.
Yeah.
You know, whatever that server minimum is, to the point where they end up owing money when it's time for their paycheck to come because of the taxes. And I know that it's gotten better, but I can't imagine what the job is that needed lifted to $15 an hour. So when you're getting bent out of shape over that whole $15 an hour thing, yeah, it is happening, but not in the degree that everybody who makes under $15 an hour right this moment has just instantly been boosted. And I think part of the problem and why everybody's getting bent out of shape about a lot of these things is they are happening quickly. I mean, Joe didn't waste no time signing off on everything he thought before this got here. So that's, I think, part of that. I think that is part of that. But right now, it's just for federal employees that are going to go up to $15 an hour. So as you get aggravated, we got a quick call. We'll take a quick call. Don't have a whole lot of time, but we'll take your call now.
It's Justin.
You was wondering about the minimum wage thing for federal workers?
Yeah, Justin, do you know something about that? Because I couldn't find any more information about it other than what I just said.
Well, there's a federal building right up the road from you guys. Okay.
Okay.
They have the cleaning crew in there. I used to be on that. When we first started, we only made $9 an hour. And then when Obama was in, he went up to $10 an hour. And now they're going up to 15.
Okay. Oh, so when did you stop working there, Justin?
Sometime after Obama took office.
Oh, okay. So you don't know if it went up during the Trump administration or not?
No, it didn't. My brother-in-law still works there, so that's how I know it didn't go up. Yeah, that's a federal contract there. They're contracted through a company in Wheeling. And so they'll get the $15 an hour when it goes up.
Okay. I mean, just since we have a few minutes here before we go to the break, I mean, that's good news for people in Wheeling that work in this contract business, right?
Yeah, and those people that work there are mentally handicapped, so they'll get the $15 an hour.
Well, I think that's great. And I mean, I don't say that just because they're mentally handicapped. What I'm saying is, there's obviously a great program that's helping mentally disabled people get jobs. So that's wonderful. And the fact that they're going to earn at least a better opportunity, a living wage, is also wonderful. I appreciate that information because honestly, Justin, had you not called, I would not have known because that's not the kind of thing that got printed that I could find with this story. And really, I was puzzled. I had no idea that any federal job actually was under that level. And here we are right in our own backyard. And I feel stupid now that I didn't know that.
They were lucky to be $9 an hour when I started. So when that contract started, it started off at $8.50.
Really?
So, yeah. And you was talking about Dave Chappelle. He lives in Blue Ash, Ohio.
Blue Ash. Okay, I knew it was like some strange little. It's near-ish Columbus, right? It's closest to.
No, it's outside Cincinnati.
Oh, it's outside. Is it between Columbus and Cincinnati?
No, it's further towards Kentucky.
Oh, okay. So it's farther. Well, yeah. So maybe he is really out there. But he was talking about that on his special, that he just kind of bought some farmland in Ohio, and that's where he lives. It's kind of odd. Could you imagine just strolling down a country road, all of a sudden it's like Scarecrow, Dave Chappelle, Scarecrow. I mean, that's just the idea.
I've seen the house.
Have you really?
Yes.
Is it awesome?
Well, you can barely see it with the gate and the wall. But, I mean, you're driving down the road, and all of a sudden this giant wall with a big old metal gate just shows up. So,
well, hey, you know what? To each his own. But it's cool that he's living in Ohio. It's not the most celebrity place to live, but probably pumping at least a decent chunk of change into their local economy.
If you look, there's tons of celebrities from Ohio
that live in Ohio.
No, that are from Ohio.
Oh yeah, there's plenty. Oh no, that's what I mean. The fact that he's living in Ohio is pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of neat. Justin, we're gonna have to take a break. Thank you so much for the information. We do appreciate you listening. Have a great weekend.
You too. Bye.
Take care. All right, Justin, thank you for the information. More of your calls and whatever we want to get into next. 4 o'clock, Stephen Allen Adams comes up with some state news. This is The Watchdog.
Hey, I'm going to the kitchen. Can I grab you a Coors Light?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Huh. I never knew there was a zip line in my fridge. Hey, buddy! Yeah? You got 2 Coors Lights up there?
You got it!
Always brewed down to 34 degrees. With a taste as cold as the Rockies, only Coors Light gives you refreshment every time.
Here you go. 2 Coors Lights.
Awesome, man. Wow, these are really cold.
That's the only way I deliver it.
Sure. I mean, you being a mountain climber and all.
Yep.
You probably need a pretty warm coat in there, huh?
Yep.
Hey, Ben!
Yeah!
Ask him if he has any nachos.
You got any nachos in there?
No.
Just icy cold Coors Light?
Yep.
That makes sense. It is the Rockies.
Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. With great beer comes great responsibility.
Are you struggling to make payments due to an unexpected financial obligation or loss of income? Are you receiving calls from debt collectors? Are you feeling overwhelmed and unsure of what steps to take next? Then you need the experience and expertise of attorney Tom McIntyre and his staff to help guide you through these temporary hardships. Want to hear more about how Tom can help? Then call 877-456-4155 and receive a free copy of Tom's ebook, When Bad Things Happen to Good People. Tom's ebook covers many questions people have about bankruptcy and includes interesting stories about people who tried to avoid filing and people who have filed for bankruptcy. We think you'll be surprised to learn some interesting facts about bankruptcy. Call 877-456-4155.
Are you or your loved ones facing a serious legal battle? The law office of Paul Harris wants you to know you aren't alone. Do you need someone that's not afraid to go to trial and fight for your rights? Attorney Paul Harris and his team are willing to go where most firms are not. The courtroom. With a successful track record in civil litigation, criminal defense, including tax issues and healthcare fraud, Harris Law Office will fight for their clients by offering the most aggressive representation in and out of court. Call Paul Harris at Harris Law Office for a free consultation. 304-232-5300.
Does your dog need groomed or walked? Are you looking for a pet sitter or dog boarding options? If so, call Dirty Paws, Wheeling's newest pet care service, providing the Ohio Valley with everyone's pet care needs. Check us out on Facebook at Dirty Paws WHG or call 304-639-7754.
Does this current crisis leave you wondering how to pay your bills? Well, a lot of people are struggling right now. I'm attorney Tom McIntyre. Call me today to schedule your telephone or video conference meeting, and I will send you a copy of my new book about bankruptcy, When Bad Things Happen to Good People. Call 877-456-4155. Together, we will figure out what to do now and what to do when this is over. We will get through this together.
Over the years, you've brought opioids into your home. They helped when you were in pain, and you held on to them just in case. But holding on to opioids puts your family at risk. Learn more at www.fda.gov/drug disposal.
For all of your IT needs, visit OmniPerforms.com. Omni Strategic Technologies, the only IT company that the Watchdog trusts. You're listening to The Watchdog, now on FM at 97.7 and 98.1. Sounds so clear. You can hear Bill DeFabio's mustache grow. The Watchdog, live and local talk radio, just the way you like it.
Ghosts. Hi, everybody. I'm Tony Caridi. That story coming up on today's Mountaineer Report, brought to us by Kroger.
Did you know that 1 in 8 Americans struggle with hunger? Yet more than 40% of the food we produce is thrown out. At Kroger, we know we can do something about this. We're donating more food to local food banks through our partnership with Feeding America. And we're working with World Wildlife Fund to end food waste. But we can't do it alone, and we hope you'll join us in creating a world with zero hunger and zero waste. Visit thekrogerco.com to learn how you can help.
Love getting prices that are lower than low on backyard favorites like grill-ready hamburgers and fresh-picked strawberries? Then shop at Kroger. We give you more ways to save on the fresh you love with tools like the Kroger app, where you can find personalized coupons on top of weekly sales. Plus, rewards like fuel points, giving you prices that are lower than the everyday low. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Mountaineer coach Bob Huggins has some serious concerns as his team prepares to resume its schedule tomorrow at Kansas State. What's Huggs worried about? Well, it's really the unknown.
When I was a kid, they used to ask me, you're not afraid of very much, are you? I said, I'm afraid of ghosts. They said, why are you afraid of ghosts? I said, I can't see them. I can't hit anything I can't see. That's how I feel right now. I don't know anything about this. I can't see this. Nobody knows what the cure is. You just got to let it play out. That scares me. I mean, it scares me that we don't have really a schedule. Okay, we know we got that 3 games in 5 days. What do we got after that? I don't know. I don't think they know. And I'm sure it's because they don't know who's going to be laid up next. Which team not going to be able to play? Those are the things that scare me. I'm not afraid to play Baylor 2 times in 5 days, obviously. And I'm not afraid to play Texas at Texas, but I'm afraid of the unknown because I don't know how to prepare for the unknown. I don't know how to fight the unknown.
Adding to Huggs' frustration is that his players have done what they were asked to do.
The hard thing is for me is that our guys have been so good, We haven't had any of this, and when everybody else was going through it, we weren't. And now all of a sudden it just jumped up and kind of bit us. But, it doesn't take, it's like, I think people say, well, like everybody got it. Everybody didn't get it. It's the other things that come along with it.
Tip-off tomorrow, set for 4 o'clock, will be on the radio beginning at 3. That is today's Mountaineer Report, brought to us by Kroger, the official grocer of WVU Athletics. I'm Tony Caridi on the Mountaineer Sports Network from Learfield, IMG College.
It's not red. It's not blue. It's just real. Real Big Talk with Big Rick continues now on The Watchdog.
You know, Lola, we talked about the lottery earlier and what we would do if we won all that money, that $1 billion prize. I would absolutely buy ZZ Top's Eliminator hot rod. First thing, how much do you need, Billy Gibbons? I want to drive the wheels off that thing. That was like the hottest car I'd ever seen at the time that video came out. And I mean, it's still one of the baddest cars on the planet, but I think that I've been inspired. I now know how to start spending my $1 billion that I'm going to win in the lottery this weekend. Welcome back. I'm Rick. That's Lola. We can laugh and kid about all the things that we would do with our money, but still, we're also going to address some of the real issues that are happening right now in this on this current events program that we're running here. Also, Sharp Dress Man, kind of funny. Today is the first day in like 3 weeks I wore a sweatshirt. I don't know, man. I couldn't pull it together this morning. It was like I could put that button-down shirt on, but then I'd have to button it back up, and I wasn't willing to put that into it today. I don't know again, I don't know really what's wrong with me, but I've also been wondering that for years. Things that are happening around Washington right now. We discussed greatly this week, and I don't want to go too far into the QAnon path. We talked about it a lot yesterday, where some of the big leaders of QAnon are just telling people to go back to their regular scheduled lives. And QAnon is not really a thing anymore. At least that's what it appears. Again, things can always change, but that's what it looks like right now. But not to Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene. She announces articles of impeachment against Joe Biden. I mean, look, we all may want to impeach him by the end, but he's only been there for 48 hours. I think he has to do something terribly wrong first. You don't have to like that he's president, and you don't even have to think that he got elected, but at the end of the day, he did get certified and he is inaugurated. So I think perhaps she jumped the shark, to use an old television term, when Fonzie jumped the shark. That could possibly be where Marjorie Taylor Greene is. I don't think this is going to gain a lot of traction. How about you, Lola?
That woman has got a screw loose. I'm sorry, but she really does. And yeah, she's been drinking the Kool-Aid way too long. That meteor is coming to get her any time now.
Just to give people an idea, because that's not just Lola spinning yarns back there. I think there may actually be a screw loose. And you can agree that you don't want Joe to be the president, but I don't know that anybody out there is agreeing that she believes that the school shooting in Parkland, Florida was a hoax.
Yes, she does.
She thinks
among
that,
many other things.
Yeah, I mean, that was just I thought, a pure example of why you said what you said. Because you want to, look, if somebody's an elected official, you'd like to think they at least, even if you don't like their beliefs, have at least some idea of what they would do and at least a reason behind why they would do it. This woman thinks that the Parkland shooting was fake.
Yeah.
She thinks it was fake. That's not a Biden thing or a Trump thing. She thinks that the shooting at Parkland High School was fake. So when she's going to go ahead and start throwing things out there like we should impeach Joe Biden, again, maybe down the road, we all want to impeach him. Who knows? We're not there yet. But certainly after 48 hours, we're not there yet. And I am shocked. I am shocked how people with that thought get elected to anything.
That has always been my question. I want to. No, I don't.
I was going to say.
I don't want to meet her constituents.
No, I don't know how. I think about all the things that we've seen, and I'm going to use West Virginia, obviously, as the example as where we are. Like, there were always things that I saw that I'm like, well, that's kind of, and this is about a lot of candidates, a lot of offices.
Yeah.
And it's not just a West Virginia thing, so I'm not making that. I'm just, if I use an example, I just would use a West Virginia example. Like, really? Other than Don Blankenship, I have never been blown away by someone's extreme, strange behavior in an election. That's not to say that I have not disagreed with people. It's just Don Blankenship thought he was going to win.
I know he did. I know he did.
He tried to poison Charleston. That's a whole nother story. But I thought even the things that he said, I didn't find overly peculiar in the grand scheme of things. I just thought it was strange he thought he'd win after he nearly poisoned Charleston.
Yeah.
And that to me is one of the strangest ones I can think of. This woman had to say something along the way that somebody didn't raise an eyebrow and go, "You don't think the Parkland shooting happened?" Says all the residents in Parkland who were there when it happened.
Yeah.
And so that's what I mean. Like, how do you get unnoticed that these huge discrepancies in reality? Because that's what that is. That is a discrepancy, a personal discrepancy in the reality. That's like honestly saying nobody died from COVID. Now, do I think COVID numbers could possibly be inflated? Sure. I think that could be it. I think it could be people die from other things and have COVID at the same time. Yeah, they could. That could be a thing. But I'm not a doctor, and I haven't examined all 400,000 dead people. I don't know. But I know from my own personal experience with my mom going through COVID that she almost died from it, and it's serious. That's how bizarre I think this woman is. She could look at you and say, well, nobody died from COVID. And I'm not putting words in her mouth, but that's how crazy the Parkland shooting not being real is to the people in Parkland. Yeah. That's why I made that example. Globally, you could say, nobody died from COVID. And everyone around the globe would look at you like, are you watching? Have you seen what happened? In Parkland, in this little place in Parkland, Florida, that woman said, this shooting that you all had to live through, which was a terrible tragedy, that didn't happen. That's how absurd a claim like that is. And yet, here she is, elected to office. How does that happen? I have no idea. Just rest assured, if Biden gets impeached, it won't be today, and it won't be for this, and it won't be from her. Maybe he never does. It's not normal. It's not like it happens to everybody. It has happened a few times in my lifetime, but not often. And I'm afraid, as we go down the current impeachment for former President Trump, I'm afraid that this is now the new norm for politics. That bothers me. The fact that Trump was impeached once, obviously wasn't removed from office, and now is being impeached a second time for the obvious recent reasons, whether you agree with it or you don't, at least there is reason to present articles of impeachment. There isn't for Biden, at least not yet. But I am afraid that this is our government now. I'm afraid that it is always going to be tit for tat, impeachment for impeachment.
I agree.
And
that's what I'm afraid of too.
It's shaky ground. You had the biggest election turnout, and we're not going down who won. We're not going down that path right now. But you had the biggest turnout you've ever had in recent ever, maybe ever, but certainly in recent history, and the opportunity for a lot of people that are able and capable to vote did. You have more interest now than you ever had in American politics. It is at its peak, its fever pitch of my lifetime. Is that fair, Lola, in your lifetime too?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
So now is not the time to make America and American citizens think the new norm is whoever gets elected is instantly going to be hated by the other side and tried to be impeached by the other side immediately. That's the path it looks like we're going down. And I'll say this, and I know this is going to be unpopular, especially with you, Lola. The articles impeachment against Trump, I get why they're there, but I just think there are way bigger things that need done. And Nancy is pushing her impeachment at Mitch. Mitch is trying to delay it until February. They are going to show these articles and present them on Monday, by the way. But right now, this is a problem I think that can be handled later. Or this is a thing that maybe even down the road you might say, we're accomplishing things and this can be put on the back burner. Why is it needed to go through at this moment when there are other things that need to be done? Again, I think it's that tit for tat mentality.
I have been saying this all along, trying to telepathically send this message to Nancy Pelosi, who I am not a fan of in the least. Don't push this. You know, we went through so many years of not having actual confirmed heads of agencies and on the cabinet. You know, we need to have these things done and taken care of. I don't, and to me too, it's an exercise in futility.
Yeah,
I mean,
it is.
it's not, you've impeached him, leave it at that. Let the Senate perhaps, I think you could get a censure through the Senate.
It's possible.
I know one reason I think they really are hoping to have him found guilty is to keep him out of public office in the future.
I read a story, and again, the accuracy of what you read is what you can find on how true is it, because again, anything can be written by anybody in any slant. But I don't know necessarily how all that would work. And really, we're 2 days into him being removed. You don't know what he's going to do, and I think he would probably is going to build a giant corporate media company and push his agenda through other candidates and his children. Yeah. And so I don't even think he necessarily cares about 2024 as much as his followers care about 2024. I think he cares that he gets his person in the race in 2024. I don't think it'll be him. And whether they do impeach him or not, again, we're showing Americans who are finally passionate about voting one way or another, we're showing them this is what you get. This is what you get. So Joe Biden wins, and now we're going to go after and impeach the guy who left. And granted, he did not leave in the best way, but he's gone. He's gone. This is like chasing your ex out the door and then trying to make it even harder on both of you. Let it go forward. Stop telling me it's time to heal, it's time to unite, when all you're going to do is keep chasing the ghost of yesteryear.
Well, I hope that President Biden can get in Nancy Pelosi's ear. I mean, because really, Biden has nothing to do with it.
Nothing. People don't realize that. There's nothing. He's not a part of this.
No, and I don't think he wants that.
No, I don't. And I was going to get to that too. I agree with you. I think he would rather let sleeping dogs lie.
He's gone. Let's move on. Let's get our agenda set and get some help to the people and get the vaccine rollout really moving well. And they keep saying, well, we can, now talking heads are saying, well, they can hold the trial in the morning and vote confirmations in the afternoon. You know what? I don't think they're capable of walking and chewing gum at the same time.
They've not showed us that is a possibility for this crowd.
No.
Yeah.
So just, and you've got other people, you've got now the Justice Department is looking at all these people that they're identifying that truly are criminals, that broke into the Capitol and did terrible things. And Trump is going to face his own legal hassles and hurdles because now he can be charged because he's no longer president. So, I get it that you think he should be held accountable. I would rather see him go after the people that got on that stage in the first place, the opening acts, so to speak.
Sure.
That they get charged with something because there were some really hideous things that were said to rile up the crowd, So I let it go.
Yeah, there's a lot of times in my own life I never liked just turn the other cheek because sometimes you get punched in that one too.
Yeah.
And that happens. And that happens. But in this case, at this time, I don't think all the things that are on the table right now facing America are being considered by Pelosi and that whole crowd and Schumer that want to go after this. I think people that don't like Biden are already pointing the finger at Biden as if he had anything to do with it. This started before he was president, mind you.
That's right.
So that has nothing to do, one doesn't have anything to do with the other. I get why people lump it all together, but it's not the same thing. And I think if you're going to continue to show that it's just going to go back and forth, turn the other cheek, and that one gets hit, and then turn the other cheek again, it's going to be a never-ending cycle. I mean, I'm not saying that anybody should be absolved of crimes. I'm not saying that. And do I think that Trump was responsible for inciting that crowd? I think he's just as responsible as Lola said of the people that came before him on that stage. But I also think he was responsible for building this army a long time before that stage was ever put down.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of layers to this like an onion. However, he's not the president anymore. And if you don't move forward now and you just keep bringing it up, he's never going to get out of the limelight. If he launches his own media company, which I think you bet your bottom dollar that he does,
I agree.
that all you're going to do is keep putting him back in the news. There's a great episode of The Simpsons, and I know that's an elementary thing to talk about when you're talking about one of the most important historical events of our time. But it's when all the local advertising icons in Springfield come to life and they're terrorizing the city, and finally an advertising agent shows up and says, if you stop looking at them, they'll go away.
Yeah.
And it's really that elementary simple. If you keep putting someone in, if you keep talking about it on the left and you already are fighting it on the right, then no matter what, you can't let him go away. He won't go away. If Blue's talking about him and Red's talking about him and he's talking about himself, you're feeding into exactly what he hopes. He doesn't care about this impeachment. He doesn't care. He's not going. He's already gone.
Yep.
And he's not going to go away overall in totality. So why are you doing it? You're harming the future to beat up the past.
That's right.
And it really doesn't make any sense to me.
Either.
But when you're so desperate to hold on to he said, she said, that's where you get crazy Marjorie Taylor Greene trying to impeach Biden in 48 hours, and you get Nancy who just can't get out of her own way and really is dragging the rest of the Democratic Party down with them. Because not all Democrats are bad, just like all Republicans aren't bad. And really all Trump supporters aren't bad either. They just they disagree with what you agree with. That's okay. The last thing I'll say about this, we get ready to wrap up. And this is something I didn't understand from the beginning. I don't understand now. And people are talking about how political of a move it was for Biden to shut down construction of the border wall. What did you think he was going to do? You think he was like, go ahead.
Yeah,
just keep building this thing. I think if we saw anything on the 6th at the Capitol, is walls don't keep anybody out of anything. Let's just face it. People climbed a wall at the Capitol and broke the windows and jumped inside. So you're going to tell me in the middle of the night on the Mexican border that somebody's not going to be able to jump over a 10-foot wall? Are you out of your mind? Did you not think he was going to cancel this? And the idea of a wall is what it is. It could be theoretical. If people are going to try to get into America, they're going to get in. And the wall's not going to keep them out. Do we need to be more secure and vet the people that are coming into America? 1,000%. 1,000%. I'm not arguing with the idea of a theoretical wall. I think it's good. I'm not against welcoming people into this country that could legally be here and add things to our country, whether it be to the workforce, whether it be to whatever. Because my grandparents got to come here.
Every person in this country, with the exception of Native Americans, has come from an immigrant.
Absolutely. Nobody, I don't think anybody has a problem with somebody being here legal if they're not from here. Legal is the word. But a wall is not going to stop an illegal, just like you want to make the gun argument. Take guns away. Here's the thing, bad people can get guns anyway, so let the good people who should own guns, let them own them. Let them own them. Same thing. If you're here legally, you're here legally. That wall's not going to do anything about it. Right now, they're not building it anymore. Coming up in the next break, we're going to talk to Stephen Allen Adams. We'll talk about state government stuff and continue to move through our afternoon on The Watchdog.
The Watchdog is FM 98.1, AM 1600 WKKX Wheeling, FM 97.7, AM 1370 WVLY Moundsville.
The ABC News is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
From ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. President Joe Biden today using his executive powers once again while he awaits Congress to take up his $1.9 trillion rescue relief package. The president signing orders to help clear the way for more economic relief for millions of Americans. ABC's Andy Field has more from Washington.
President Biden's executive orders extend eviction protections, increase food stamp and other food assistance, and demands federal contractors pay workers a living wage.
We will not let people go hungry.
Mr. Biden saying his giant America Rescue Plan must get through Congress if the country is to move past the pandemic, get everyone vaccinated, and the economy back to normal. Andy Field, ABC News, Washington.
Some Republicans are saying that the Biden's support for that package is too steep. The Senate also working through Biden's cabinet picks, but won't take up a vote today, likely, on the Treasury Secretary nominee, Janet Yellen. Her confirmation on hold right now. But White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki today says the Senate committee has moved her nomination along.
The president is very happy to see that Janet Yellen, the first woman who would ever lead the U.S. Treasury Department, was unanimously voted out of committee this morning.
Coronavirus cases still high around the country. States trying to ramp up vaccinations and call for more doses to be distributed. In New Jersey, they're also reporting 2 cases of the UK COVID-19 variant. New Jersey Health Commissioner Judith Parishkoli today.
We are reporting that 2 confirmed COVID-19 variant cases involving the B117 or the UK variant have been identified in New Jersey.
She says one case is a man in his 60s, another a young child they contracted that was first detected in the UK. The unidentified man was never hospitalized and no longer has symptoms. You're listening to ABC News.
Carmen's startup found an angel investor, but now they're asking for a miracle from her development team.
Hello, this is Carmen. That's exciting news. I guess we could launch early.
It's time to hire.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. The moment you sponsor a job on Indeed, you get a short list of quality candidates from our resume database. Indeed delivers 2.5 times more hires than the other branded job sites combined, according to Breezy HR 2019. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get a $75 credit for your first job post. Terms and conditions apply.
Beachcombing, baking cookies, learning French. Aren't these what you'd rather be doing than thinking about your Medicare prescriptions? Well, Walgreens is here to help you get back to it with convenient refill and pickup options. expert pharmacists to answer all your questions, and Medicare copays as low as $0. Zero. Which is also the number of cares in the world you'll have as you stroll the beach, eating cookies and speaking French. Oh la la. Walgreens.
$0 copays apply to Tier 1 generic drugs and select plans where Walgreens is a preferred pharmacy.
Grim new numbers out of California, 767 coronavirus deaths in just the past 24 hours. A new record there. The sad aftermath of weeks of overrun hospitals and ICUs. Daily case numbers, though, are starting to come down, though there have been more than 23,000 new infections, still high in California over the last day. And some alarming news about the COVID variant that's popped up in Britain.
New evidence suggests the mutant strain that emerged in the UK may be more deadly than the original virus form. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson.
In addition to spreading more quickly, it also now appears that there is some evidence that the new variant may be associated with a higher degree of mortality.
The new variant, first detected in September, has now become the dominant version in England. It has spread to dozens of countries around the world. Tom Rivers, ABC News, London.
Baseball great Hank Aaron has died, the Hall of Famer and former home run king, playing mostly for the Braves during his 23-year career. Aaron spoke with ABC News last summer before the 100th anniversary of the Negro League, where he got his start.
I played with some ball players that knew how to play the game, and they taught me an awful lot. And I took it upon myself to learn all that I could from them.
Aaron's assistant says he died peacefully in his sleep. He was 86. This is ABC News.
As a dentist, I know what my patients are saying during times when they really can't speak.
Mm-hmm.
She says her gums are irritated.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything you can do? Absolutely. You can try New Crest Advanced Gum Restore.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, New Crest Advanced Gum Restore. It detoxifies below the gum line to restore your gums back to health in just 7 days. Exactly. Healthy gums, healthy mouth.
New Crest Advanced Gum Restore. Healthy, beautiful smiles for life.
Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
Hey man, what can I get you?
Yeah, can I have 2 Coors Lights?
You got it. Hey Mike! I need 2 Coors Lights!
Sure thing. With a taste as cold as the Rockies, only Coors Light gives you refreshment every time. Here you go.
Thanks, Mike. Doing a great job. All right, 2 ice-cold Coors Lights.
That's the coldest beer I've ever had.
Hey, they don't call it the world's most refreshing beer for nothing.
Okay, be honest with me. Do you really have the Rocky Mountains in your beer cooler?
You don't believe it? Check it out.
Man, that's pretty amazing.
I know, right? I can't believe it myself sometimes. I mean, this cooler is only 3 feet wide.
Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. With great beer comes great responsibility.
Are you struggling to make payments due to an unexpected financial obligation or loss of income? Are you receiving calls from debt collectors? Are you feeling overwhelmed and unsure of what steps to take next? Then you need the experience and expertise of attorney Tom McIntyre and his staff to help guide you through these temporary hardships. Want to hear more about how Tom can help? Then call 877-456-4155 and receive a free copy of Tom's ebook, When Bad Things Happen to Good People. Tom's ebook covers many questions people have about bankruptcy and includes interesting stories about people who tried to avoid filing and people who have filed for bankruptcy. We think you'll be surprised to learn some interesting facts about bankruptcy. Call 877-456-4155.
For all of your IT needs, visit OmniPerforms.com. Omni Strategic Technologies, the only IT company that the watchdog trusts.
Menards is your complete plumbing headquarters. Save on over 300 kitchen and bath faucets from Moen in the store and on Menards.com. Moen faucets give you a lifetime of beauty, reliability, and innovative features. Moen products are built to last. Save big on all the latest styles and finishes of Moen faucets. Now at Menards. Savings are good until January 31st.
Save big money at Menards.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Hello, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm the Storm Tracker, Darnell Foster. With a look at your local weather forecast for your Friday under mostly cloudy skies. A chilly day in store, 33 for the daytime high, 21 for the overnight low under mainly cloudy skies. You'll see plenty of sunshine, but stays rather chilly for your Saturday with highs in the upper 20s. Have yourself a great day, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm Darnell Foster.
The views and opinions expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of this station or its sponsors. Keeping it real for the right, keeping it real for the left. 100% real talk is right here. Real Big Talk continues. Now on the Watchdog, here's Big Rick.
Faces look ugly when you're alone. Women seem wicked when you're unwanted. Streets are uneven when you're down, when you're strange. Faces come out of the rain when you're strange. No one remembers your name when you're strange.
Welcome back to the Watchdog. Lola, did you send this as a dedication to me or what?
No,
Why are you
not
chocolate?
To you. What were we just talking about? Crazy people, crazy people.
I was just checking. There are crazy people out there, the craziest. Some of the news in the past couple of days has just been mind-blowing. And that's not even just national news, just some of the local news has just been, wow. There are some wild ones out there. Probably my favorite stranger is the man they call Stephen Allen Adams. He writes for The Intelligencer and Ogden newspapers everywhere. Steve is strange, but he is wise. He's also in Charleston. He saw all everything. You've seen everything at this point. I saw the other day on your Facebook page all your press credentials all boxed up there and displayed. You've been everywhere, my friend.
Yeah, just like Johnny Cash. I've been everywhere, man. I have seen some things. I've seen some strange things for sure.
You have. I mean, I look forward to the conversation that we can have in 20 years about the difference between. I saw that you had a Trump-Pence press pass and also an Obama-Biden press pass in your display. And I just someday, about 20 years from now, when we can sit here and calmly talk about all the things that have happened in 2020 and certainly with the Obama campaign trail and the Trump campaign trail, and just compare the differences. That'll be a fun day.
No doubt. I wish I still had my Hillary Clinton 2008 press credential. I can't find it. But the funny thing about that, covering the Obama campaign, was he never really went to West Virginia in 2008. The closest he ever came was he stayed the night at the Blennerhassett Hotel, I think either the night before or the night after he did a visit at Hocking Hills College. And the interesting thing about that was it was the first time that he was able to get a Senate endorsement from all people by former U.S. Senator Jay Rockefeller of West Virginia. Not only that, but that was fun because the band Arcade Fire was doing a bunch of tour dates in Ohio on behalf of the Obama campaign, and they did a stop at the Nelsonville Opera House. And I got to see Arcade Fire for the very first time, and I've been a big fan of theirs ever since. So it was a real interesting campaign, that one.
I was going to say, man, I these stories that you must have seen, I mean, for me, you know me well enough to know you could sit there and pick my brain about rock and roll shows all around this country, actually all around the world, and I could give you a story, but the stuff you've seen politically has to just be mind-blowing. But let's corner in on some of the things that we've picked up this week. I don't know if you want to start with the swearings in of some folks, or if you want to start with the COVID website rollout. Dealer's choice today, Steve. Where do you want to start?
Well, let's go in chronological order with the most recent thing, which was this afternoon, the inauguration The ceremonial inauguration of Governor Jim Justice, members of the Board of Public Works, that's Secretary of State, State Auditor, State Treasurer, Attorney General, Agriculture Commissioner, and also our three Supreme Court justices that technically won back in June, but they got sworn in. Now, all these people have been officially sworn in. The justices were sworn in right at the beginning of the year, so they can go ahead and start hearing cases on the bench. And then at least according to the U.S., to the state constitution, governor and our Board of Public Works officers, they officially take office on the third Monday in January, which was this past Monday. Several of them got officially sworn in at midnight. Some earlier Monday. I know J.B. McCuskey, the state auditor, got sworn in Tuesday. But traditionally, there's a big ceremony that involves inauguration and swearing in. Normally on Monday, things have changed a little bit, because of COVID, so they had to come up with a ceremony to spread people out, which they did successfully. And then not only that, but parts of the Capitol are under renovation, including the front steps, the south side steps facing the Canal River, which is traditionally where you have those ceremonies. We ended up moving it to the opposite side, north side, facing the reproduction of the Liberty Bell. But it was a very good ceremony. The only person that spoke outside of some members of the COVID team was Governor Justice, recounted his first term and all the things that happened during that and some of the successes that he had. And he talked about what he was going to do for the state in the future. So it was very, very good ceremony.
I heard a clip, I think it was when we run the Metro News during the break, and I heard a clip of him talking about everything he's done to try to get more vaccines. I mean, if nothing else, you got to hand it to the guy. He is straight off the cuff and just, doggone it, I've done everything I can. I've looked everywhere.
Yeah, for sure. And that kind of leads us into the next issue, which is starting Monday, the state's rolling out a new vaccination scheduling portal. Right now, county health departments are being inundated. The governor's office is being inundated with calls. And this is kind of a good thing because it definitely shows that there is interest in the vaccine. And that's very encouraging because we need people to get it. But right now, of course, the big issue is trying to get doses in. And that's not just us. That's all over the U.S. The governor actually had said on yesterday's briefing that he's already talked to the new federal coronavirus czar that's coming in and had a good conversation with him and about the need to try to get as many vaccines into people's arms as possible. And, of course, West Virginia continues to be a shining light in doing just that. But, again, so much interest in trying to do this. Phone lines are being jammed. People can't get through. There are already wait lists growing at health departments. So the new scheduling system, which you can find Monday at vaccinate.wv.gov, you'll be able to get yourself on that waiting list, and then you'll be contacted. It's a very innovative system. It's a system that is used nationally by companies and states to alert people, citizens, residents, subscribers to natural disasters, emergencies, incidents, things of that nature. So in this case, it will let you know that when a vaccine is available for you and where you can go get it. The one big thing is everyone's being encouraged to be as patient as you possibly can. Be patient with your health departments, especially with your smaller counties. They're understaffed. They're doing the best they can. And they're also encouraging people, if you are already on a wait list, do not register for the online portal. Do not do it. You will be merged into that system. You don't have to worry about re-registering all over again. So really, really good thing. Apparently, we're going to be the first state to roll this system out, so it could be the example for other states to follow.
Yeah, it is. It's always good. I mean, it doesn't happen often, but it is always good to hear that we're good at something good. So that makes me feel better. I likened this yesterday, Steve, and I don't know how off I was on my comment, but the reaction to the overwhelming nature of this rollout previous to this website, which of course we just have to see and make sure that it works properly. And there could also be issues with it. I likened it yesterday to when the PUA insurance or unemployment website had launched and it was not working and people went absolutely ballistic. And I understand, because when you don't have the opportunity to file for unemployment if you need it, and you don't know when your next paycheck is coming because you lost your job to COVID, I can understand being hot under the collar about that. But it took, it didn't take a long time to get it fixed, but people don't understand that the system was never built, the unemployment system was never built to take on what it had to take on. This system is built for exactly what is happening.
Well, that's exactly it. The issue, like I said, is health departments are being inundated with phone calls. Phone lines are jammed. People can't get through. So having this system in place that will work alongside county health departments will take a lot of that pressure off those county health departments, so they can also do other things, such as we're still trying to do testing, of course. Keep testing up and make sure that that's free and available for people. So this will help take a little bit of that stress off. And again, the biggest problem we're facing right now is not anything that the state's fault at this point. The state is putting vaccines into people's arms as fast as we get them, and we really are doing a good job at it. Right now, our issue is supply from the federal government, which is primarily the source of it. Of course, this is being manufactured by Pfizer and Moderna, and there'll be other vaccines coming online, such as Johnson & Johnson likely next month, and AstraZeneca, which, full disclosure, I'm in the AstraZeneca trial. That'll come on maybe late March into April. That'll provide us not only more doses of vaccine, but those vaccines are actually a lot more stable. They can be stored at room temperature. I believe at least one of them only requires one dose instead of Pfizer and Moderna that require 2 doses spread out over a matter of weeks. So right now the issue is getting more of that from the federal government, and the new Biden administration is working that problem. They have an ambitious goal, or for some it's not that ambitious, but trying to get 100 million U.S. residents vaccinated within 100 days. So hopefully we'll exceed that goal. But right now we just need more doses from the federal government. But as soon as they can get them to us, we seem to be doing a real good job of getting them to the people.
That is good news. Yesterday, Steve, Lola and I discussed, by the way, we're talking to Stephen Allen Adams. Read him in the Intelligencer and Ogden newspapers around the state. He follows all things state government and covers it all in Charleston. Yesterday, Steve, I was talking to Lola about this, and I mentioned and made sure that all our listeners knew there have been around the country a couple of different incidences and scams going on as far as the coronavirus vaccine. In Florida, we saw the first case, at least documented case, of someone actually stealing 2 vials of it. I don't know if it was to sell it to someone else or give it to themselves. And we also have seen incidents of people trying to steal the empty vials of it, fill it with something else, and sell it. Have we seen any of that in West Virginia? Because I haven't seen any specifically in this state, but it is happening in other places around the country.
Not that I'm aware of. I haven't seen that. I know the biggest problem in Florida, and I just read an article about this recently, talked about vaccine tourism, where people or that don't even live in Florida are flying in order to get on the lists down there and get a vaccine. So that seems to be a real problem. But in West Virginia, the biggest problem that we had, which was early on within, I think, the second week of distributions, when the National Guard accidentally gave the wrong doses, to a clinic that ended up vaccinating people with antibodies instead of the vaccine, which that's not harmful, but it did create a little bit of an issue where they had to go back and make sure their inventory systems were working the way that they had wanted them to work, and they were able to get those people the proper vaccine pretty quickly. So that's the biggest snafu I've heard about so far.
I read yesterday, and I think I heard it in a clip as well on the news, that is it the Clarksburg area that is actually offering or opened up I think it was Fairmont Hospital that I do believe at one point was closed or mostly closed down, that they have opened that up as a COVID unit.
Yeah, we actually have a couple different fallback places in case of a hospital becoming filled, either their ICU beds or their regular capacity. Fairmont is one of them. There's also a overflow wing down here at Thomas Health, though they've not implemented that yet. And it has a lot more to do with the fact that at least in that part of the state, there are a number of cases. Now, statewide, hospitalizations have actually gone down. I haven't looked at those numbers today, but they have been trending down, which is a good thing. But that doesn't mean that a regional part of the state may not also be struggling. In the Montague County, Marion County, Harrison County areas, there's a lot of cases there. Their cases are starting to come down too, but you know, it's easy even just for one hospital to become overwhelmed. So they can move some of those patients into the Fairmont Hospital, which, if I recall, is actually operated by WVU as well. So that'll help out a good deal and try to free up some beds. Because obviously when it comes to ICU beds, it's not just people with COVID. I mean, it's people that get in serious accidents or people with serious health issues that require them to be isolated. Those beds are important to try to keep up for specifically that reason. And it's why we've been focusing in the state on getting older people vaccinated, both because the CDC guidelines have required, in fact, they dropped down to 65. That's why the state was offering those vaccines for people 65 age and older. And it's why we started with the nursing homes and long-term care facilities first and foremost, which, if they're not already, I think most of them already have their second doses. So that means they're fully vaccinated. And the whole point is that is the age group that is being hospitalized, and that's the age group that's dying. So if we can get them vaccinated quickly, that should start taking the pressure off of our medical system, and we should start seeing some results of that, I would imagine, in the next 2 or 3 weeks.
We've seen, at least I've seen in my life and my friends on social media, and that's where, again, we are being social these days, is strictly through the internet, at least most of us that are keeping our distance from others. It seems like there is a slight turn in the acceptance of getting vaccinated. You know, we all know someone who is dead set against it, or multiple people that are, but I've noticed that people that started out dead set against the idea of it are warming up to it slowly. It does seem to me like there has been a slight turn in that, and the acceptance, honestly, the acceptance of people willing to get it thus far in this state has kind of surprised me. It's better than I thought.
Well, one thing you got to remember, too, in West Virginia is, even though, of course, there are anti-vaxxers out there all over the nation and in West Virginia for sure, West Virginia has one of the tightest vaccination laws in the state. We are actually in this state real good about making sure children get vaccinated, particularly before they go into school. Now, there have been attempts by lawmakers to try to soften those laws a little bit. It's usually Republican lawmakers. So far, they have managed to keep that at bay. Even Republican leadership has been able to more or less kind of put those particular bills in a committee and lock them in a room, and you never see them again throughout the legislative process. So it's one of the good things about West Virginia that we're really strong on that. I can't think of any claims that the anti-vaxxers make that have not been debunked, especially about autism. and the links to autism, which is one of the big pieces of misinformation out there when it comes to vaccination. So West Virginia has always been really, really good about that, and I think that works in our favor when it comes to the COVID-19 vaccine.
Yeah, it seems like it has. In the last couple minutes here, Steve, I wanted to mention something. We had a caller yesterday, and I thought it was very interesting, and I wanted to get your take on it, considering how close you are to so many of the people that would be responsible for doing this. You know, you don't have to get necessarily into your own political beliefs if you don't want to, but yesterday we had a caller. We had a situation where we were talking about how, you know, Joe Biden has signed some agreements and things to stop the Keystone Pipeline, and that people in West Virginia are very, very concerned about the future of, obviously, coal and oil and gas and the things that really get taken out of this state quite frequently, but also provide a lot of jobs for people in this state. And the caller, who native of Wheeling and moved across the border to Ohio, and basically said, what did West Virginia do to see this coming, and what did they do to help build other industries within this state to replace some of those jobs? Because, you know, this was an Obama era thing where it started, and granted, Trump, I don't know, was overly active in keeping more of it or creating more of it in the state. But now with Biden administration in there, it's probably going to be a lot more difficult for some of those places to be able to do things as environmental conscious as Joe Biden is. What has the state done to generate more things? And I know we've talked about the Virgin Hyperloop, but has the state had a plan? Have they been doing things to market this state to other outside businesses, that tech firms, medical, anything to bring new business and new opportunities in?
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. Our Department of Commerce works on that issue all the time. And here's how you know that we are kind of being smart in how we approach this. And all you need to do is look at our severance tax revenue, which includes coal and natural gas primarily. For decades, that was a big tax revenue item in the state, brought in millions and billions over decades. But that has slowed down a good deal, because we're not producing as much coal. There's always going to be a need for metallurgical coal, because you just can't make steel without coal.
Sure.
Steam coal, which is what power plants use, that is where we are hurting a good deal. And then when you look at natural gas, a combination of oversupply, because we've done a good job of finding innovative ways with fracking and horizontal drilling to get at natural gas deposits. There's been an oversupply, and couple that with the way the economy has been during COVID, that's really put like a real hurt on natural gas production. You've seen some wells capped or turned off, at least temporarily, because we just don't need that supply right now. And you're seeing that reflected in our severance tax revenue. But except for December, our general revenue fund tax revenue every month of this fiscal year since July has come in surplus. And that's driven primarily by personal income tax. It's driven by consumer purchasing, things of that nature. The severance tax right now plays a very, very minute role, and our budget accounts for that now, which tells you that at least our state leaders understand that that's not a dependable form of revenue. But with that said, you're not going to see coal go away. You may see less reliance on steam coal, and you're not going to see natural gas go away, especially in regards to petrochemical stuff, because most people don't stop to realize how much of the products you have that are made of plastics that are manufactured through the petrochemical process. So these aren't going away. Joe Biden himself backed away from originally saying that he wanted to end fracking. He has backed away from that for sure. And in the case of the Keystone Pipeline, dirty secret is you can shut down that pipeline, but you're not really stopping the movement of that oil, because they're just going to put it on trucks and they're going to move it to the Gulf or wherever they need to get that to get it to market. So it's going to be interesting to see how that administration handles this. issues. You know, they just rejoined the Paris Climate Agreement. But keep in mind, because of our reliance on natural gas and our switch over to natural gas power, our emission rates are well below the requirements that the Paris Climate Deal has put on us. We are producing emissions at 1980s levels right now, which is good. It's come down a good deal. So they're going to have to balance the need to try to have a clean environment with some of these petrochemical issues.
Good stuff as always, Steve. If it takes me back to the 80s so I get to live through the 90s again, I would be all about it. Whatever takes us to the 80s era, I'm in.
Hey, if it means better Kevin Smith movies that, you know, are more in the lines of Mallrats, then I'm all for it.
Absolutely. Steve, great stuff as always. We'll talk to you next week, and enjoy your weekend. I know it's been a hell of a week for most people, probably a lot for you, so put your feet up and enjoy the weekend.
Will do, my friend.
All right, Stephen Allen Adams, read him in the Intelligencer and Ogden newspapers around the state. This is the Watchdog.
New Belgium Fat Tire Amber Ale is now available in West Virginia and distributed locally by wine and beverage merchants. With its toasty and biscuit-like malt flavors blended perfectly with hoppy freshness, it's bound to become one of your new favorite craft beers. Fat Tire Amber Ale is now available at local retailers. Please don't drink and drive, and drink responsibly. From your friends at Wine and Beverage Merchant.
I'm not buying till I checked on Ford.
Most of us are faced with uncertainty every day. Your job, your finances, sporting events, schooling for your children, and so much more. With so much uncertainty surrounding you, there is one auto dealership that you can be certain about, and that's Doan Ford. You can be certain that you always get a great deal and the best service afterwards. Being in business for over 50 years has given Doan Ford the reputation of being a strong, reliable dealership. Be certain. Choose Doan Ford. Online at DoanFord.com.
I'm not buying till I checked on Ford.
The weather will affect you every day, whether it's good or bad. The Storm Tracker 7 weather team is here to make sure you're never surprised. You can trust us to help you plan your day.
36 degrees here in Wheeling.
On TV, online, on your phone, our experienced meteorologists are here to help you prepare for what's ahead. Watch the Storm Tracker 7 weather team with Zach Petty, Aaron Myler, and me, Dr. Dave Walker. Weather coverage you can count on, working.
For all of your IT needs, visit OmniPerforms.com. Omni Strategic Technologies, the only IT company that the Watchdog trusts.
My little girl hurt her foot and needed a doctor fast, but her physician wasn't available, and I wanted her seen as soon as possible. Then I remembered the Wheeling Hospital Urgent Care, right in downtown Wheeling at the Stone Center on Market Plaza. Open 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. every day, the center is ideal if you have a sudden sickness or injury. The doctors and nurses were great, and they also provided x-rays, a pharmacy, and lab draw station. No appointments needed, and convenient parking is nearby. Wheeling Hospital Urgent Care. They'll take good care of you.
Now's a great time to go Toyota for reliability, value, and style. And RAV4 is the #1 selling SUV in America over the last year, with available all-wheel drive in gas or hybrid models. Now get up to $1,000 cash back from Toyota through February 1st. For more offers, shop Toyota's official website for deals, buyatoyota.com. Then see your Toyota dealer. Go Toyota, and let's go places.
Plumbers and Steam Fitters Local 83 want to thank the owners and contractors of the Ohio Valley for using their locally trained workers to help build for the future. Local 83 helps design, fabricate, and build the gas infrastructure for the oil and gas industry here in the Ohio Valley. Plumbers and Steam Fitters Local 83 is 300 members strong and growing. They also do residential, commercial, and industrial work on both sides of the river. For more information, call Plumbers and Steam Fitters Local 83 at 304-233-4445.
Menards is your complete plumbing headquarters. Save on over 300 kitchen and bath faucets from Moen in the store and on Menards.com. Moen faucets give you a lifetime of beauty, reliability, and innovative features. Moen products are built to last. Save big on all the latest styles and finishes of Moen faucets. Now at Menards. Savings are good until January 31st.
Save big money at Menards.
A serious injury from an accident can be just the start of your worries. What if you cannot return to work? How do you take care of your family if you're disabled? At Gelner Law Offices, we represent seriously injured people and understand their problem. We know how to get you fair compensation. We will work hard to make sure you get the money you deserve for your losses. Don't go it alone. If you're hurt in an accident, call us at 304-242-2900 or visit us at gelnerlaw.com.
We'd like to help.
CA House Music has all the gear to make your music legendary. With all the best gear, including Fender, Epiphone, Yamaha, and more, CA House will have you rocking in no time. Get the most for your money with everyday low prices. And we meet or beat internet pricing. Play before you buy and let our product specialists help you pick out the instrument that's right for you. CA House Music, supporting local musicians since 1872. Play music for life.
The Metro News Update is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
West Virginia Metro News, I'm Jeff Jenkins. The Marion County Board of Education has voted to provide an in-person instruction option for its families. It was the final county to do so after the State Board of Education threatened intervention. State School Superintendent Clayton Birch spoke during today's emergency meeting of the Marion County Board.
Folks can use what language they want. I wouldn't call it strong-arming. I would call it following the Constitution and advocating for children's rights. And that right is the ability to have an in-person instruction.
School boards in Gilmer and Taylor counties voted to offer in-person at meetings last night. You can read the latest at wvmetronews.com. Governor Jim Justice making quick work of his second inaugural address today. It only lasted 19 minutes. Justice saying that he thought a few years ago that one 4-year term would be enough.
I thought really and truly if I gave 4 years of my life to serve and do it right, that was enough. But there's more to do. West Virginia is really on the move.
Those winning election back in November to the state's constitutional officers were also sworn in today, including second-term state auditor J.B. McCuskey.
Of the office of Auditor of West Virginia.
Of the office of Auditor of West Virginia.
To the best of my skill and judgment.
To the best
State Supreme Court Chief Justice Evan Jenkins administering the oath. Today's inauguration ceremony scaled back because of the pandemic. Everyone wore masks and social distancing was observed. You're listening to Metro News, the voice of West Virginia. U.S. Senator Joe Manchin voting today to confirm retired General Lloyd Austin as the U.S. Secretary of Defense. Manchin calling it the, quote, beginning of a long journey to reestablish American leadership around the globe and rebuild trust in our federal government. Meanwhile, U.S. Senator Shelley Moore Capito did not cast a vote. She was in Charleston for inauguration ceremonies. WVU football staff member Bill Legg, a former assistant coach at Marshall, is reportedly going to coach the tight ends on new head coach Charles Huff's staff. From the Metro News anchor desk, I'm Jeff Jenkins.
News, talk, sports, and rock is all right here, right now. Back to Real Big Talk with Big Rick on the Watchdog.
Welcome back, 441, getting ready to wrap up today's show. I'm Big Rick, that's Lola. I got to tell you, I thought about you last night when I was strolling the internet, the interwebs, looking for all our sports headlines for today. And I came across the Lions' new head coach, which at this point, I can't imagine how many times I've said the Lions' new head coach.
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm 43, and I can think of 7.
I know.
And in my entire life, there's only been 3 Steeler coaches. So I get that. It's the thing, Steeler fans. When you call for Tomlin's head, I understand the frustration. But remember, the consistency of winning seasons is something not every franchise has.
I can attest to that.
Exactly. And I was going to say, just ask Lola, because I can think of 7 Lions coaches, and I'm not a Lions fan, but I've said the new Lions head coach a lot in my life, in my last 20 years of broadcasting. And I found this clip, and I asked Lola if she had heard it before, and I sort of played it for her, but I'm going to play this for you guys. This is the Lions' new head coach, and this was his welcoming press conference. This is Dan Campbell. So I'm gonna try to play this for you now.
Built on, we're going to kick you in the teeth, all right? And when you punch us back, we're going to smile at you. And when you knock us down, we're going to get up. And on the way up, we're going to bite a kneecap off, all right? And we're going to stand up. And then it's going to take 2 more shots to knock us down, all right? And on the way up, we're going to take your other kneecap, and we're going to get up. And then it's going to take 3 shots to get us down. And when we do, we're going to take another hunk out of you. Before long, we're going to be the last one standing, all right? That's going to be the mentality. So
that is the new Lions head coach. So I played that for Lola, and she was like, I love it.
I do. I do.
I can appreciate the passion. That man looks like he would bite a kneecap at the end of the day. I don't know. I try to think about the head coaches of now. I mean, obviously, back to me, that sounds like something Jack Lambert would say, and probably said to other humans. I don't know if that's how you approach it in 2021. I like the old school mentality of it, but you also, when Jack Lambert was playing, guys weren't making as much money and they didn't have lives after football. They just did whatever came after football. Now, you probably have some Lions in that locker room going, is this guy nuts? Because those guys don't know who Jack Lambert was.
I know.
They don't know the intensity of how, people would say things like, I'm going to take a hunk out of you, then I'm going to bite your kneecap, and I'm going to do this and do that. They don't necessarily understand that. So it's going to be interesting to see how new head coach Dan Campbell intermingles with his players, because he sounds like a guy that could be a player's coach. I mean, let's face it, that guy's not rehearsed. That guy is the Jim Justice of the NFL. He just said how he felt.
Yeah.
Like, I want us to be tough, so we're going to do this, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do this. And there was not a lot of pre-planning in that. I mean, really.
That's all right. Black and blue division. That's what we need.
We do. I would like to see football way different than football is right now, which I still love watching NFL football. And I think that the players they're phenomenal athletes compared to what players were 10 years ago, 20 years ago, and 30 years ago. Plus, the athleticism is unbelievable because the training is now better than we've ever seen. The genetic modification of a player through healthier eat. I mean, back in the day, it was red meat, cigarettes, and beer. I mean, that's seriously fueled a lot of the NFL players. And I say back in the day with the utmost respect to anybody who's ever put on the uniform. But now it's kale and supplements, and I'll maybe eat a piece of meat later. And so it does genetically modify a lot of the way that the your genetics are what they are, and then you are able to modify. I shouldn't say genetically modified, because that's obviously a hot topic with people who think we're run by lizard people. I don't want to offend the lizard crowd today. Okay. But yeah, I mean, your bodies are modified by the training and things like that. That guy once, seriously, 1978 Neanderthal football players out there who were just, and he had, and Dominican Sue was there. You mentioned when you and I were talking. Yep. I mean, he was the guy who could have played for Dan Campbell because he seriously would bite you and did. That guy actually bit people,
I know.
punched them, kicked them in the head, knees and elbows. I'm not glorifying ending somebody's career by kicking them in the head, but what I'm saying is that's the guy who should play for Dan Campbell is Adamyan Sue. And we'll see. I think it's going to be an interesting interaction between a guy who has that mentality and players today, because really you think about think about how, and I use the word pretty boy just because I think about their hair and their probably beard cream and all the weird stuff that dudes do. Like, think about Cliff Kingsbury. You know, think about the Rams coach. I mean, you look at that guy, Sean McVay, and you're just like, does he coach football or is he on the cover of Vogue? Because he looks like a guy that would be like on GQ and not so much a football coach. So the finesse coaches now, the thought out press conference guy like Mike Tomlin. I mean, he always they call it Tomlinism for a reason. He always when he goes into it, you know, the standard is the standard. He's going to word you to death. This guy wants to bite your kneecap. And Lola's here for it. You know what? I am too. I hope that he has some success. It would be nice to see the Lions competitive again. I mean, it just feels like they haven't been competitive in such a long time.
Long time.
Yeah, it really does. Sad news today. I know that Bill covered it and even had a fun story about his interaction with Hank Aaron. Home run king, and I think for a lot of people, he'll always be considered home run king. A lot of people don't like to acknowledge Barry Bonds because of the steroid era and things like that. And you can say what you want. Barry Bonds could hit a baseball like nobody's business, as much as he was a miserable human being and very unlikable, whereas Hank Aaron was not a miserable human being and was, quite the contrary, very likable. So whether you consider Hank Aaron the home run king or not, it is sad to see him go. Hank Aaron endured racist death threats while chasing down Babe Ruth's all-time home run record. And the video of Hank Aaron breaking that record with fans running onto the field, he was worried that those fans were going to try to attack him initially, as that was how racist people were towards him breaking that record. Those fans wanted to congratulate him, by the way. It was quite the opposite of how he felt. But could you imagine being in the middle of, yes, it's sports, but sports lives in our pop culture, it lives in our communities, it lives in our minds, it lives in our fandom, and sports is an indelible part of our lives. And here's a man who is about to do something so special, and he actually does it. The bat cracks. The ball is on his way. He knows he has just done something phenomenal. And his initial thought was, these guys are going to try to hurt me.
I heard a clip of an announcer saying, Hank Aaron has just gotten a standing ovation in the Deep South. Where was he when that happened?
I don't remember. I mean, obviously, he spent a lot of his time was spent with the Milwaukee and the Atlanta Braves. So I'm not exactly sure where that clip came from.
It may have been Atlanta.
It could easily have been Atlanta, but that's probably where he was. He's from Mobile, Alabama. He was certainly a civil rights activist as well, and was a first ballot Hall of Famer in 1982. He got 97.8% of the vote to get him in as a first ballot Hall of Famer. That is the second highest percentage, only behind Ty Cobb. I'm glad that Hank Aaron got the opportunity to realize that he meant a lot to the culture and fabric of America as a great baseball player, and not have to feel like he should live in fear of being a black man who broke Babe Ruth's home run record. And it's hard. Honestly, the story of Hank Aaron is a pretty incredible story. And that particular thing will always stick with me. Could you imagine I mean, I don't even know what the greatest thing I've ever done is. I mean, a lot of us don't have that Hank Aaron defining moment in life, and he probably doesn't necessarily even consider that the greatest moment of his life. It's the greatest moment of his life that we can see. Maybe becoming a father, getting married, whatever he considers to be that. But for us, as fans of the sport, fans of sports in general, the greatest thing we ever saw Hank Aaron do was hit that home run. And I'll never forget watching that interview of him saying, I thought these men were coming to hurt me. It's like, man, I hate that those guys ran on the field and took that moment, that feeling away from him. Because
it was Atlanta.
That would make the most sense. But yeah, it was, I hate that he had to feel that way in that moment. But the fact that he was able to enjoy life after baseball and be celebrated the way that he has been celebrated makes me feel a little bit better about the way all of that unfolded for him. Hank Aaron gone at age 86. What are the Steelers doing? Interesting stuff there yesterday. We talked as we were on the air. Dwayne Haskins becomes a Steeler. Watching the reaction, people have seemed to have calmed down, and now they're buying into the idea that maybe this was a good signing. He got nothing in it. It was a great signing. If it turns out poorly, cut him. You got nothing in it. If it turns out great, you just stole a number 1 draft pick for league minimum. That's phenomenal. Phenomenal. I know. I think everybody gets into that. Well, I want them to be more like Mark Malone. No. You're not going to get that in 2021. You're not going to get that. Players are not that anymore. So deal with it. And if you don't like the fact that the league changes, you don't like the fact that the attitudes of the players change, then you probably need to stop watching the NFL, because that's not going to go backwards. That's not going to go backwards. They're not going to all of a sudden start doing that. Just a quick note that no one really is probably going to be overly concerned about. Former wide receiver for the Pittsburgh Steelers, Deion Kane, has just signed to the Baltimore Ravens. He was a guy that got cut off the practice squad. So if he becomes somebody we need to worry about, then things are way worse than we thought they were in the world of the Steelers, for sure. This is an interesting Steelers note, and then we're going to talk about football this weekend. The Steelers are not done making changes necessarily, coaching positions. We mentioned yesterday Hank Fraley was coming to visit. He went to Robert Morris, had a great career in the NFL. Also, the Steelers are looking at Hugh Jackson, possibly former Browns coach, to head up the offense. So this Matt Canada thing still is not a done deal. And I mentioned it the day that we thought it was a done deal, with Matt Canada being the future offensive coordinator of the Pittsburgh Steelers. To me, that seems like business as usual, and you're not really willing to go out there and shake things up. It's just, I understand promote from within. I do. I think promote from within is a good thing. You get somebody you're familiar with that knows what you're doing, and that's at any job. That's at any job. But if you already promote from within to a guy who already is going to do things the way the previous guy did them, really you only changed the person in the spot. You didn't change the idea in theory of how you're going to go about winning, regardless of who your quarterback is, whether it's Roethlisberger, Haskins, Rudolph, whatever combination of the three you put on, or two you put on the sideline every week. It doesn't seem like to me that it's going to change. And let's get to a couple of, we normally don't do this, Lola, but I think we should, just because it'll be fun to talk about on Monday. 2 games this weekend we are getting down to it. Buccaneers versus the Packers at the Packers. And we've got Bills at the Chiefs. 3:05 on Sunday. Buccaneers versus Packers. What say you?
The Packers are going to win that game. And I'd like to see the Bills win, but if Mahomes plays, Kansas City's going to win.
I think the Packers are fantastic. I think Aaron Rodgers is fantastic, and I think the Packers benefit because Aaron Rodgers is their quarterback. I don't know how many players on the Packers I think are great players, but I think Aaron Rodgers and just simply Matt LaFleur's offense makes those players, and his system makes those players. How how do you underestimate Brady? And going in anywhere and playing at any point. I mean, I hate to say it because I don't want Brady to win ever again, ever. I just don't want him to win at anything. I don't care if it's checkers in his backyard with his kids. I just don't. I hope his kids beat him. I don't want him to win at anything. I know. I get absolutely ridiculous with it. I think the Packers are going to win. I think what Tom Brady's done has been amazing. Let me throw this out there real quick, too, because you do have to get credit where credit is due. Playoff wins all time. The New England Patriots have 37, Packers 36, Steelers 36, Cowboys 35. Tom Brady alone, 32.
I know.
Tom Brady alone has more wins than every other franchise except for four. Except for four NFL franchises. Tom Brady is the fifth highest winningest thing in the NFL behind four franchises in the playoffs. That is absolutely mind-blowing. And as far as the Bills-Chiefs go, Mahomes is going to be all the difference. If he's in, I think the Chiefs win. But boy, it would be fun to see. It would be fun to see what the Bills fans do if the Bills win this game. So there's a part of me that's going to go home and put on some red and blue and hope that the Bills win. All right, we're getting ready to wrap it up for the weekend. You guys take care of yourselves this weekend. Take it easy. Take it easy. Stay off social media, at least the miserable parts of social media. Stay off them. Follow the Watchdog. We'll be back on Monday as usual. We got hockey this weekend. Tonight, 7 o'clock, Penguins versus Rangers. We also have that tilt again at 7 p.m. on Sunday. So interesting weekend for the Pens. Going to see what their defense can do, how it can hold up. So you guys have a great weekend. For Lola, I'm Rick. Have a good evening. Have a good weekend. Take care of each other. This is the Watchdog.
The Watchdog is